Hey there, Commodores fans. Welcome into the Falmouth Commodores pregame show. I'm Danny LaRose. He's David Korzanowski. And David, Falmouth coming off of a pretty crushing loss at the hands of a previously one-win Hyannis team. Lost 10-4 a couple nights ago at Gov Fuller Field, and really nothing clicked for the Doors.
Yeah, poor pitching for the Commodores, who now have a team ERA over 5. Pitching coach Mike Landry was talking about needing to get back into a groove, so hopefully with this long stretch ahead they can do that. Also a few errors in the field and some subpar hitting. Lost by 6 to a team that is 2-9-1. They want to get that taste out of their mouths here today.
They were able to get a much-needed off day yesterday, and I'm sure if you were following along with our social media, you saw all about it. These players got to head over to Fenway Park. They got to take some BP. They got to impress some scouts.
Yeah.
And one guy who really impressed the scouts, which you might not expect, is one Baron Radcliffe.
Yeah, he's got such a great athletic frame, right? 6'4", 235. We haven't seen too much power hitting from him so far this summer with a 231 average and 3 hits. Still looking for that first extra base hit, but yesterday in BP, he was amazing. Put a couple over the monster and a couple off the wall in left field. And the coaches were talking about how impressed they were with his all-fields hitting.
The scouts would not stop talking about how impressive Baron Radcliffe was. He was definitely the one they were talking about the most from the Doors, maybe the guy they were talking about the most from the entire Cape League. And here to talk about his performance just in batting practice yesterday with our own Katie Florio is Baron Radcliffe. Thank you, Baron and Katie. Always cool when you get to put one over the monster.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just, regardless of what the scouts think, that is pretty baller. But now moving on into tonight, you've got the Commodores at 4-5-1, starting to hit a bit of a cold streak again, going up against YD, who has been red hot.
Yeah, and we're going to see if Baron Radcliffe can put that power into motion like he was talking about with that interview with Katie, because he is in the lineup tonight playing first and batting 6th or 7th. But the Commodores have a chance to really stifle this YD team that has won 3 in a row. They're 7-4-1, second in the East Division. The last time these two teams played last Sunday, YD was 5th in the East. Granted, it's very tightly packed, but this is one of the hottest teams in the Cape League.
The Sox of Yarmouth-Dennis have found themselves climbing up the ranks in the Eastern Division. Meanwhile, Falmouth slipping a little bit. They're towards the bottom, still not quite in last place, but they've still got some work to do to catch up to teams like Wareham and Katuitt. First pitch coming up at 5 p.m. for Katie Florio and David Korzanowski. I'm Danny LaRose. We'll see you in a bit. Hey there, Commodores fans. Welcome into the Falmouth Commodores pregame show. I'm Danny LaRose. He's David Korzanowski. And David, Falmouth coming off of a pretty crushing loss at the hands of a previously one-win Hyannis team. Lost 10-4 a couple nights ago at Gov Fuller Field, and really nothing clicked for the Doors.
Yeah, poor pitching for the Commodores, who now have a team ERA over 5. Pitching coach Mike Landry was talking about needing to get back into a groove, so hopefully with this long stretch ahead they can do that. Also a few errors in the field and some subpar hitting. Lost by 6 to a team that is 2-9-1. They want to get that taste out of their mouths here today.
They were able to get a much-needed off day yesterday, and I'm sure if you were following along with our social media, you saw all about it. These players got to... The lineups have been called, the anthem has been played, and we are just moments away from first pitch here at Red Wilson Field, the home field of the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox. Welcome in to this presentation of Falmouth Commodores Baseball. I'm Danny LaRose, joined alongside my broadcast partner, David Korzanowski. David, Falmouth 4-6-1, Yarmouth 7-4, two teams on different trajectories early in the season, but Falmouth has the roster that you want in order to put together a good offensive stretch. They just haven't quite done that yet.
Yeah, no question about it, Danny. Talking to all the coaches and the players, they're still trying to get in their groove. That's been the #1 word that I've heard in talking to everyone from the Falmouth dugout is groove. They're trying to get in their routine, trying to get into the swing of playing day in and day out. And starting today, Danny, 34 games in 34 days. So they have the opportunity to do that. And why not here against YD, one of the hottest teams in the Cape League?
There will be at least one game every single day in the month of July and to finish out June, especially if you include the All-Star game coming up on July 21st. But for now, we're still in June, and Falmouth looking to get back into the winning side of things. Their previous game, a 10-4 loss at the hands of the Hyannis Harborhawks, by far the worst team in the Cape Cod Baseball League. They may be on the upswing. Don't want to sell them short at all. They've got a couple of players who have just come in from some ACC schools and some SEC schools that might put Hyannis up there. So they are definitely a different team than they were a couple weeks ago. As are Falmouth. Falmouth, as we mentioned, those guys from out west coming in, and they're still, less than 10 at-bats for each of them. Kendall, Tawa, Clunch, all less than 10 at-bats, still trying to, like you said, find their groove. And for now, we'll take a look at that lineup, starting off with Hayden Cantrell, who has been, I think, the best player on the Cape all summer long. Cantrell leading Falmouth in RBIs and in home runs. Will be playing second base, leading off. He's followed by Blake Dunn, the right fielder, batting second. Trey Cruz, the three-hitter, is playing short. Tim Tawa out in center field. He's batting cleanup. Zach DeLoach will be playing left field for the first time this season. He's batting fifth, followed by Stephen Morato, the third baseman. Barron Radcliffe, the first baseman. Troy Clunch, the catcher, batting eighth, rounded out by Kevin Kendall, who's designated hitting today, and batting ninth. First pitch swinging is Hayden Cantrell, and he blasts one right back through the box. Another base hit for Cantrell as he stays red hot.
How about Hayden Cantrell last game against Hyannis? It felt like it wasn't one of his best games. He still had 2 hits and upped his average 20 points. Picks up right where he left off after the off day at Fenway Park, hitting .343 now entering this game, and first pitch swinging out of the hand of Eric Tolman and a single right back up the middle. It's exactly what Falmouth needs here on this Friday night matchup.
It's lefty Eric Tolman, as my partner mentioned, on the bump, pitching from the stretch on only his second pitch. Dunn will lay down a bunt towards the third base side, fielded by Tolman. The spin around throw on to first, just in time. Barely getting him was the pitcher Tolman on the way to Wold manning first base, and Blake Dunn gets the job done. He gets the bunt down, and Cantrell moves on, but he nearly had a hit.
Yeah, he almost beat that out, Danny. Really close play and a nice stretch by Jack Wold, who was able to scoop that throw from Eric Tolman. Nice job from the pitcher as well, getting off the mound in a hurry. It's really tough for lefties to field bunts that are over toward that third base line because they have to spin around and throw back towards first, and an emphatic call from the first base umpire, Robert Wilson.
Tolman looks back towards second, comes home to Trey Cruz. First pitch breaking ball misses downstairs to Cruz, who's in an early RBI opportunity with a runner on second and only 1 out. Cruz, who has 7 RBIs in his last 4 games, has been batting them in at a great pace. Hands up around his back ear, batting from the right side. Another off speed. This time he swings right through it. Count goes 1-1. We'll take you through the defensive alignment for YD. It's Tolman pitching to his catcher, Austin Wells. Third base, Riley Terrata. Shortstop, RJ Yeager. At second base is Wyatt Young. First base, Jack Wold. Outfield from left to right, Andrew Eister. Got Hall in center and King in right. Here's a fly ball into left field. Eister ranging over towards the line. He's going to get there just in the nick of time, make the grab on the run, and Cruz is retired for the second out of the inning.
So there are 2 down and just 1 runner on, but I like what Falmouth's doing here. They're attacking early. They're showing no signs of intimidation in the batter's box and at the plate. A couple of good outs, right? A hard hit ball down the left field line that nearly snuck in fair territory before Eister got there, and a great bunt attempt from Blake Dunn.
Here comes Tim Tawa, the rising junior from Stanford. He's also batting from the right side against Tolman, the lefty. Tolman kicks and fires home. First pitch swinging is Tawa. That's a bouncer back up the middle, past the diving RJ Yeager. Cantrell will come around third. He'll score without a throw, and Falmouth with a huge 2-out RBI off the bat of Tim Tawa.
Hayden Cantrell galloping back into the dugout, high-fiving his teammates. This is exactly what Falmouth has been trying to do, is establish that offensive rhythm early. And then another first pitch swinging at bat from Tim Tawa, right in the same direction that Hayden Cantrell hit it. That was more playable for RJ Yeager, but it would have needed to be a SportsCenter top 10 play to field that one, and it just snuck past his outstretched glove.
6 pitches thrown by Tolman, 2 hits, 1 run, and 2 outs. Here's pitch number 7, off speed for a strike to Zach DeLoach, hits the inside corner. Falmouth has been desperate for 2-out hits seems like all season long. Against Hyannis, they stranded 11 runners on base, couldn't get those late inning hits that they needed. 0-1, and Deloach goes well around. 0-2 goes the count.
Tolman showing good stuff here as well, though. He's not afraid to attack the zone. Had a 3.38 ERA at Arizona State this past year with a 3-1 record. Best ERA for the Sun Devils during his freshman year in Tempe.
He looks back, the runner at first. Tawa's running, ball taken high, throw down to second base, skips up and hits Tawa in the helmet, rolls into no man's land in the left field, but I think Tim shaken up by it a little bit, and he's just going to stay put right at second base.
And that was something that I had my eye on coming into this matchup, Danny, was runners on the base paths, because YD and Falmouth tied for the lead in the Cape League in stolen bases heading into this matchup, both with 18. And if you look at each roster, hitters 1 through 5, and in YD's case, hitters 1 through 6, all with a stolen base this season.
Well, now Falmouth has made it 19-18 in the stolen bases battle. Tawa dancing off of second. The pitch comes home, swung on and missed. Strike 3, 1-2 fastball blown right by the Texas A&M Aggie Deloach, and that will retire the side. But Falmouth score 1 run on 2 hits, and they strand a runner on base. We will head to the home first. It's a quick 1-0 lead for Falmouth on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. Welcome back to Red Wilson Field, an early 1-0 lead for the Commodores as we start the bottom of the first inning. Tyler Ross will be the starting pitcher, getting his first start on the Cape. He'll have to go up against a very solid Yarmouth-Dennis team.
Yeah, this YD hitting team is great. A lot of guys above 300. We'll talk about that in a sec. This is Ross's first start, his 3rd appearance on the mound. He is a righty pitcher, switch hitting batter, and this is his 3rd appearance of the summer. Last time he was out on the bump was about 2 weeks ago, back on Father's Day against Harwich. Pitched 2 innings, gave up 1 hit, no earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout. So this will be his first chance to get a good workload on the mound.
He'll go up against a guy who is nearly a foot smaller than him in Wyatt Young, who fouls off the first pitch fastball back into the screen. But Young, despite his height, has been one of the hottest hitters. He's batting .307, has racked up 4 RBIs as well. A lefty against the righty Ross.
Yeah, he's great. Rising sophomore at Pepperdine. We saw how solid he was in the doubleheader between these two teams last Sunday.
0-1 breaking pitch. Looks like it hit off the cleat of Young. At least it sounded like it.
Yeah.
Skipped way inside. And yep, that will be a hit by pitch. There was no sign made by the home plate umpire, Sam Finn, as Young now walks down to first, and he will not be called back. So it is an HBP to start off YD's day.
Young seems all right. Gets a pat on the head from the first base coach. And you got to watch for him on the base paths as well. 3 for 3 on stolen bases is Young. 5'7" with a lot of speed. He plays second base for the Red Sox. But Danny, this team is so good at the plate. Second best in the Cape League in batting average at .269. And they have 9 guys batting above 300.
Here is Noah Campbell, batting well above 300 at .466. From the left side, watches ball one, a fastball miss well off the plate. Campbell, if you're listening to the PA guy here from South Carolina, a Gamecock, teammate of Carmen Majinski, one of Falmouth's starters. Fastball clocked into center field, way back, and that one is over the wall, a home run. Two-run bomb off the bat of Noah Campbell. And speak of the devil, YD's offense strikes early as they take the lead over Falmouth. It's 2-1.
This is a hot team. Said it before the game, and we're seeing it here in the bottom of the first. Two batters, one hit by a pitch, and then that was a shot to dead center field, Danny. I mean, that was directly over Tim Tawa, who's playing in center for the Commodores today. It went off the top of the fence, I believe, and then shot straight down.
Might have been off a tree.
Might have, yeah.
I don't even know. There's a
It
lot
took
of
a weird
tree cover.
carom out there, but YD quickly regaining the lead, and nobody out here in the first.
Only took them about 4 pitches. Ross's 5th pitch is a strike at the knees to Austin Wells. That was a fastball right down the middle to Campbell that he blasted out of here for his 2nd home run of the season. Got his 6th RBI as well. And Austin Wells, who has been red hot in his own right, takes a ball outside 1-1. He's batting .263, but 4 home runs, 11 RBIs. That's same amount of RBIs as Hayden Cantrell, but 1 more home run than the Falmouth second baseman.
Leading the Cape League.
Ross's 1-1 misses low. Take you through the YD lineup. It was Young followed by Campbell. Now this is the 3-hitter Wells, followed by the cleanup hitter King. After him is Andrew Eister batting 5th, then Jack Wold, Riley Terada batting 7th, followed by RJ Yeager and Sam Hall to round out the order. 2-1 fastball at the knees. 2-2 goes the count in this 2-1 ball game in the first.
Wells, Pac-12 Freshman of the Year in 2019.
Takes a ball off the plate that Troy Claunch had to block.
And this is another Falmouth pitcher, Danny, who has not gotten some time on the mound in a long while. Again, June 16th, the last time he's got to throw some pitches in a game.
His payoff pitch is a fastball that is cut on and missed by Austin Wells for the first out of the inning. So he retires the 3-hitter on a full count. Now he'll have to take on Riley King, a Georgia Bulldog, in the 4 spot with nobody on.
See Ross sort of settling in against Wells. Wells worked to get at bat, but a nice punch-out pitch from Ross. But we heard the same thing from Sam Strickland, who had about 10 days between his starts. After that loss against Hyannis, he talked about how the long rest was kind of rattling.
Curveball drops in for a strike, so Ross trying to maybe deal with what Strickland could not and put up a stellar start on long rest. So far, not so good. He's down 2-1, but his 0-1 to Riley King is swung on and missed. Looks like his stuff has found its spots, and he's no longer leaving it over the plate.
Yeah, he's settling in well, and with a guy like Noah Campbell at the plate, just one mistake or one pitch that you leave a little bit too juicy, he's going to make you pay. We heard Chris Gonzalez echo similar sentiments.
0-2, breaking ball chopped towards third base. Moretto on the backhand stabs it. Throw on to first. Long stretch from Baron Radcliffe, but he's got the figure to do it. It's a 5-3 putout, and Riley King, the 400-plus hitter, goes down.
From the University of South Carolina.
His hacks, nobody on base. 2 outs in a 2-1 YD lead thanks to the Noah Campbell 2-run home run. Tyler Ross from the University of Alabama, the top recruit for the Crimson Tide out of the 2018 class. Rocks and fires from the windup, a first pitch off speed taken on the inside corner to Eister, 0-1. Your umpires behind home plate, Sam Finn. Over at first base, Robert Wilson. At third base, Mike Gaetani for this bright, hot Friday afternoon game. Of course, no lights here at Red Wilson Field, so we start at 5. 0-1 downstairs, 1-1.
Starting to cool off a little bit. We're getting some of that breeze.
Please.
That's going out towards right field, but I agree, Danny. This is the first really hot day I think we've had. We've had sunny days in the 70s, but today it was mid-80s. I think it touched 90 in some parts of the Cape.
1-1 from Ross, sharp line drive, but foul. So count will now be 1-2 to Eister. Doesn't help that we're starting at 5 and that this field seems to have no tree cover unless you go over the fence. Some fans who have parked their lawn chairs out in center field. Smart decision, because there is a whole nest of trees out there before you hit the suburbs and the houses.
Great crowd on hand here
yeah.
at YD, especially down the third base line.
1-2 from Ross. Swung on and missed a beautiful breaking ball. He drops the hammer, and Eister swings over the top. Falmouth will go back up to the plate now, trailing after a 2-run bomb. YD takes the lead. They score 1 run on 1 hit, no errors against the doors, and nobody left on base. We head to the top of the second. It's 2-1 YD. Welcome back to Red Wilson. Top of the second inning we go. Falmouth trailing 2-1. Danny LaRose joined alongside David Korzanowski on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. Leading off will be Steven Moretto. He's followed by Baron Radcliffe and Troy Claunch, 6, 7, and 8. Falmouth out hitting YD 2-1, but trailing 2-1 thanks to a 2-run home run in the home half of the first. And strike one is taken by Steven Moretto.
Moretto got off to a hot start this summer, had some clutch RBIs against Hyannis and Chatham.
0-1, he lopes out into left center field. Ranging over is the center fielder Hall. He will call off his partner Eister and make the grab near the warning track, out number 1. Something I wanted to comment on, I noticed it during batting practice, is this doesn't seem like a small ballpark. We have no idea the dimensions because they're not set out on the fences, but the ball was absolutely flying out. And you mentioned Campbell's home run was to dead center. There's some wind, but not really ferocious wind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, something about this ballpark, the ball is really flying. First pitch strike taken by Baron Radcliffe.
See, to me it kind of looks big, but I don't know if that's because there's not a lot of trees down the first and third base side that it makes it look a little bit deeper out in center.
0-1 down in the dirt to Radcliffe, 1-1. We talked about Barron all during our pregame show.
Oh, yeah.
How the scouts just were raving about him.
Drooling.
They were tweeting about him after the batting practice at Fenway. He breaks his bat and corks one up the first base side, but foul. So now the count 1-2. So Barron was. The reason they were drooling over him, as David mentioned, was just he was showing off opposite field power, pull power, dead center. I mean, he was spraying the field and putting the ball 350 feet just about every time. Hasn't quite gotten that together so far on the Cape, however. No extra base hits, no RBIs, no home runs.
So he's a lefty, 6'4", 240. And when he came to Falmouth, one of my first reactions was he just looks like an absolute athlete, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out he is, if you read our feature by Max Trink.
1-2 fastball popped up on the infield towards the left side. Calling for it and making the grab is Riley Terada, and that's the second out of the inning.
But then we've seen some contact like that, right?
Yeah.
He's gotten into his swing a little bit better, some louder outs in these past few games. He had some strikeout woes to start his summer. But when Ryan Eiley, first base coach for the Commodores, was pitching to him in BP yesterday, you can see the potential that's there. It's just about connecting against these very good pitchers on Cape Cod.
Troy Claunch will be the hitter. Nobody on and 2 outs here in the second. First pitch to Claunch, grounded towards the left side, and that one will find a hole. R.J. Yeager at shortstop tried to scoop it on his backhand, but he was not there in time. Claunch has Falmouth's third hit, and they've got a 2-out base runner.
And Falmouth's had the most success when they've been swinging early in the counts. Another first pitch that was swung on by Claunch, singled past Yeager.
Good point. Every single hit they had was on the first pitch.
Yeah.
Kevin Kendall, the 9-hitter, anything but a 9-hitter. This guy also went over the green monster, a lefty who put one opposite field over the monster, and he's not a big boy like Barron Radcliffe is. But he's got some power. Middle infielder, too, as the first pitch breaking ball skips in the dirt to Kendall.
Yeah, 2 for 6 to start the summer is Kendall, and he's DHing. Again, we talked about Cruz, Cantrell, and Kendall, 3 guys that Trundy wants in the lineup. Usually one of those 3 have been DHing these past few games.
Other 2 are playing middle infield like Cruz and Cantrell are today. 2-1 score, Yarmouth-Dennis in the lead. 2 outs against Falmouth in the second. Kevin Kendall trying to prolong the inning. Kendall, you mentioned 2 for 6. One of those was a double. That was his first hit on the Cape. UCLA Bruin takes a fastball strike over the outside part of the plate. Only 5'10". I have him listed as 166. That might be wrong.
I think I have the same.
So definitely, doesn't look like a powerful guy. But again, he hits the gaps pretty consistently. Here's the 1-1 from the lefty Tolman against the lefty Kendall. Ground ball towards the gate. And the count now a ball and 2 strikes. Falmouth in their road blacks with the maroon lettering on the back. Those beautiful jerseys that they wear at home and on the road pretty consistently with maroon socks, gray pants, and YD. Since it's Friday, wearing red jerseys with the Cape Cod baseball across the front, white pants, and the camo hats. Here's the 1-2. Sharp line drive over towards second base. There is Wyatt Young. He fields it pretty easily. Toss on to first in plenty of time. And that will retire the side. Falmouth score no runs on the 1-2 out hit. No errors committed by Yarmouth-Dennis. And 1 man left on base. We go to the home second, still 2-1 in favor of the Sox.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Bottom 2 we go in Yarmouth. Falmouth trailing Yarmouth-Dennis 2-1. As the leading off is Jack Wold, the first baseman from UNLV. He's followed by Riley Terada, RJ Yeager, 6, 7, and 8 for Yarmouth-Dennis against Tyler Ross, whose first pitch is a fastball down at the feet of Wold. He takes a cut, fouls it back. David, we just got a very friendly Yarmouth-Dennis former employee, team volunteer, who informed us that the dimensions of this ballpark make it an absolute bandbox.
Yeah, it's about 352 in dead center field, 345 down the left field line, 342 down the right field line as the ball misses low. And that's one of the things I like about the Cape Cod League, right? If you go to a field professionally, minor league, and you have a question and you ask it, it's probably not going to get answered. Cape Cod, there's someone around probably 20 feet away from you that knows the answer.
Ground ball right side, Hayden Cantrell takes it on 3 hops, throw on to first in time, out number 1. Yeah, he was just overhearing us, right behind us.
Perfect.
Lets us know, and it does help because we were wondering, like, why were the balls flying out so much? For whatever reason, our vantage point, whether we're so low to the ground because we're not in a press box, or we were saying that how it's such a very symmetrical ballpark might make it seem so much larger than it really is.
Yeah, in some fields you see that long arc along the outfield that makes dead center a lot deeper. It's a pretty shallow arc here at YD.
First pitch to Riley Terada is taken below the knees, ball 1. Terada playing third base. He's a rising junior over at the University of Dayton. from your neck of the woods where you go to school. He's from South
yeah.
Bend, but he plays for the Flyers. Here's the 1-0. Fastball strike on the inside corner. That got a great chorus from the Falmouth dugout and field. They love that pitch from Ross.
Well, it's got some zip on it. I think that's why. We saw his fastball hit 95 against Chatham, and I think that was probably mid-90s as well. So when Ross gets behind fastball, it can get up there.
His 1-1 is chopped up the middle. Nobody's going to get to that one. It splits the second base bag perfectly. Terada is on base with a single. YD's second hit of the ball game, and they've got a base runner with 1 out.
So that was Terada's 5th hit of the summer and his first single.
Wow.
His first 4 hits in a YD Red Sox uniform were all doubles. So, and that again speaks to the power and the hitting ability in this lineup, Danny, because he's hitting 7th. He's hitting 143, but he's hit 4 doubles on the year.
RJ Yeager now will be the hitter. Plays shortstop at Mercer down in Georgia. He swings the first pitch he sees, and that's a fantastic catch made by Baron Radcliffe. Hesitated on the jump, made the grab, fell onto the first base bag, and that is going to be a double play to get Ross out of the inning, and he stole a double, maybe a triple from Yeager.
Yeah, and that might have landed foul too, Danny, because it was going so far down the right field line. That's, I think, one of the best defensive plays we've seen all summer. I mean, Baron Radcliffe, off the bat, he might have been moving a little bit to his right, expecting it to be in play, moves back over to his left side, somehow snow cones it, and then has the awareness to know where the bag is, taps it because he catches Riley Terada stranding, and a single-handed double play. That was exceptional.
It was all Baron. I said he hesitated a little bit on the jump, and because he wasn't sure if he was going to over-jump it. When he made the grab, it was right around his neck level. He didn't have to reach up too high for it, but again, the athleticism you mentioned, he's got the athletic frame. He was a former 3-star quarterback with offers from Ohio State, chose baseball, still definitely has that athleticism of a multi-sport athlete in that frame, as that will do it for YD. They scored no runs on the 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on base after first base was tapped by Radcliffe. And we'll keep it here as we go into the top of the 3rd inning. It'll be the top of the lineup for Falmouth. The blazing hot Hayden Cantrell is going to lead off the doors. He swung at the very first pitch he saw, as he normally does from the leadoff position to start games. Improved his numbers to 9 for his last 14, and keeping that batting average way above 300. He later came around to score Falmouth's only run as they head into this inning trailing 2-1.
Yeah, Hayden Cantrell, first pitch swinging his first time up, singled, came around and scored on the single by Tim Tawa. That's what happens, and that's why they leave him in the leadoff spot, despite having the best average on the team and some of the higher power numbers, right? 3 doubles and 3 home runs. They want him on base.
First pitch he watches is a fastball on the outside corner for a strike. Cantrell from Louisiana Lafayette, his second year as a door, and just to run through his numbers from last year, he hit 190, had 14 RBIs and 100 at-bats. Here's the 0-1, taken low. He is way lower than 100 at-bats, and he's nearly at his RBI count for last year. He's sitting at 11 right now through 10 games played.
Yeah, he has figured it out.
Ball upstairs, 2-1. I think, yeah, that's...
To put it simply, right?
Exactly.
Because I don't know what's changed exactly. I mean, he's definitely got a little bit more bat speed. He's got some more power as well. Gets the hips around quicker.
2-1 is an off speed that he takes outside. His eye is looking really good, too. He had 34 strikeouts last year with Falmouth. And that's something he has not been doing a lot this year. He's been swinging early in counts. His bat speed is better, and his eye is better. Here's a 3-1 that he pops up foul.
And I think that that's one of the differences I've noticed, Danny, is his approach at the plate, right? Last year it looked like sometimes he was getting up there trying to work a walk.
Yeah.
And while he does have a good eye this summer, that is not his attitude at all, right? He's trying to get hits, contact, power, and get this team really going.
Here's the payoff pitch. Line drive right side. That one's well foul. So the count will remain 3-2. Funny you mentioned the walks. To my count, he's only got 1 walk on the summer so far, which is ludicrously low for a leadoff hitter, but his on-base percentage is still pretty good with that plus 300 average. So he is a guy who definitely is not looking for the walk all that often, but he's got a chance at one here. Here's the 3-2 yet again. Hits him right in the middle of the back, and Hayden Cantrell, despite not walking a lot, does lead the team in hit by pitches, as I think that's the 3rd or 4th on the season that Cantrell has WAR.
I'm going to start playing a little game to see if I can ever see him not smiling, because his body language is always amazing. I mean, he just got hit in the back with a hard fastball from Tolman, and he looked down at the dirt for a little bit, dropped his elbow pad, and when he was walking down first baseline, he's looking back to his dugout, smiling, pointing, and making jokes. I think the only time we see negative body language from him is maybe a strike call that he doesn't like, but that's the only thing I can think of.
First pitch to Blake Dunn. Cantrell is running. He slides in head first, well ahead of the throw. And if you thought Hayden was bruised by the pitch, he is A-OK as he just took off in a heartbeat, and Tolman was unable to keep him at bay.
I love it, and this is what the team needs too, is energy. And
he's just a spark plug.
He has no shortage of energy. I mean, he just gets the team going. He's always joking in the dugout, talking to guys.
That was on our last broadcast. Our sideline reporter, Katie Florio, talked all about that leadership that he has. Here's the 0-1 to Dunn, taking down the middle, 0-2 to the right fielder. And if you haven't seen it, go back, watch our pregame show, watch the whole broadcast again.
Yeah,
why not? Falmouth lost 10-4, spoiler alert. But she talked to Hayden and was like, you know what, you got the energy. Everybody kind of follows you. They kind of listen to what you say. When he talks, people listen. He's joking with everybody. He's friends with everybody. She asked him about that. He goes, I just like to have fun.
Right.
And part of success in baseball, and especially in summer ball when you might be fatigued from playing, is having fun. Definitely helps his teammates. And I don't think he realizes just how much it adds to this team. 0-2 swinging, Blake Dunn, bloop hit into center field just on the cusp of the outfield grass. Hayden trotted back to second base just in case it was caught. Now he'll go over to third, and there will be runners on the corners. Nobody out. Falmouth trailing 2-1 in the third.
Top of the order, getting it done. We talked about how in that first inning, even the two guys who got out, hitters 1 through 4 in Blake Dunn and Trey Cruz, had good outs. Blake Dunn had a great bunt that Tolman, the pitcher, made a great play on, and Cruz, hard hit ball down the left field line. They're looking just as good in their second ABs.
Trey Cruz mentioned in his first at-bat, 7 ribbies in his last 4 games. Well, here's another great RBI chance with a runner on third and nobody out. He checks his swing on the breaking ball. Yes, he did, says Robert Wilson, the first base umpire. Count now 0-1 to the Rice Owl, and maybe Hayden Cantrell's best friend.
Oh, yeah. They're a tandem in the middle infield. They hang out all the time outside of Commodores-related activities. And I don't know, they definitely have some magic together at the top of the lineup. We saw him hitting 1 and 2 for, I'd say, the first 7 or 8 games of the year. Last couple games, Cruz has moved down to the 3 spot. But a lot of the time, when he's up at the plate, Cantrell is on base.
Runner goes from first base. It's a pickoff move down to second. Blake Dunn slides in. He's out, but coming home and scoring is Hayden Cantrell. I don't know if that was designed by third base coach Brett Becker, but Blake Dunn got himself into a rundown, and YD said, let's just get the out at second. They allowed Cantrell to take home. And that will be a run scored, an RBI for Trey Cruz. All he did was take a pitch.
Yeah, so that's a 1-3-6 putout. And Dunn thought that he actually slid around the tag. I think he might have a case as well. So third base umpire Mike Gaetani made the call. It was a close play at second base. Dunn slid in with that right hand on the outside part of the bag and tried to hook it around the glove of R.J. Yeager. But out was the call. He stayed at second for quite a bit, appealing the call, but heads back to the dugout.
So bases are cleared. Game is tied thanks to that weird RBI for Cruz. Here's the 1-1 to Trey. It's a fastball taken at the knees for strike number 2. 1-2 now the count to Cruz, who's 0 for 1 with that flyout. He was red hot, just like Cantrell was, going into the Hyannis game, and then went 0 for. Reached base twice, once with an error, once with a walk. And that's a foul ball, so the count will remain the same.
Cruz's birthday's coming up. July 5th. So about a week from now. And the Commodores will be in the middle of their grind. July 4th, they play at Katuitt.
1-2 popped up high on the infield. Yeager coming over. He's going to be called off by Young, the second baseman. And he will make the grab just a touch in front of the second base bag. That's the second out of the inning.
We've seen some infield pop-ups from Cruz in his last few at-bats. His last AB against Hyannis, similar-looking swing. Just gets a little bit under it. Makes for an easy play for the middle infield.
Tim Tawa will be the hitter. He had his first RBI on the Cape in his first at-bat today. It was a single through the middle, then stole a base but was stranded on second. First pitch Tawa sees, hits him right on the front foot, and he's going to go take his base.
What is that now? 3 batters we've seen hit total?
Yep.
2 by Tolman in this half inning and 1 by Ross on the first AB to Wyatt Young. These pitchers have done pretty well with control so far, just missing a little bit low. Saw that off speed, I believe it was, die in the dirt. And Tawa couldn't get out of the way of it.
2 outs and a base runner on for Falmouth for Zach DeLoach, the left-handed swinging outfielder from Texas A&M. Takes a fastball in the dirt, ball 1. 2-2 score here in the third. Falmouth scored 1 in the first, now 1 in the third. They've got a runner on first and 2 down. Lefty Tolman going to go for a sneaky pickoff move to first base, but a loud back call by Ryan Eiley. He is one that you definitely hear out on the field. He's very into his job as first base coach.
Yeah, in his first year as well for Falmouth. Last year we saw Tony Caldwell, who was coaching first base. Brett Becker staying over at third.
1-0 is a slider that breaks way outside. Now a friendly hitter's count to DeLoach, 2-0.
Tawa also with some speed. 1 for 1 on stolen bases, and he's playing center tonight.
DeLoach will have to wait as another pickoff move will go towards first base, trying to do what they did to Dunn when they were able to pick him off and throw him out at second. Zach DeLoach, with other things on his mind, has a 2-0 count. He has no hits in 4 of the 5 games he's played on the Cape, but he does have 4 hits on the season, all of them coming in 1 game when he went 4 for 4. Ball taken downstairs. If I'm not mistaken, that game was game 1 against YD.
Correct. Yep, game 1 of the doubleheader. The Commodores won. They dropped game 2 by a score of 8-4, won game 1-9-6, and split with the Red Sox.
Here's the 3-0. DeLoach has the red light, and he will take ball 4 upstairs. A 4-pitch walk, and DeLoach will reach first. Tawa will move to second base, and Steven Moretto will be the hitter.
Tolman did struggle a little bit with walks this year. 36 walks, 49 strikeouts. Not a bad ratio, but you want it at about 2-1. And that was only in 48 innings pitched as well.
So Moretto, the Sacramento State product out of Coquitlam, British Columbia. That's right in the Vancouver area.
Red Sox fan, though.
Red Sox fan, which is interesting. Maybe the furthest you can be away from Boston. As the first pitch he sees breaks inside, hits him on the knee. He didn't move a muscle, but I think it had some late inward break.
Yeah.
So Moretto didn't expect it to hit him. He'll take his base. Bases are loaded.
So Tolman, the lefty, seems to be coming around a little bit too much. I don't know if that release point's a fraction of a second too late, but he's coming inside to righties. Usually you see if a lefty's hitting batters, they're usually lefties, because they're crowding the plate, and sometimes it's coming from that direction. But he's going all the way across and hitting the righties inside.
There's going to be a visit over on the mound. Looks like Pickler's going to come out and talk, as there is an arm warming up in the YD bullpen, but he doesn't look fresh at all. Looks like he just got up. So it's going to be an infield meeting with the manager, the pitcher, and the catcher before we get to Barron Radcliffe. And if there was ever a time for Barron Radcliffe to show off all that, all field power that the scouts were raving about, it's right now.
Yeah.
Tie ball game 2-2, bases full with 2 outs. Radcliffe at the plate in a 2-out rally that seemingly won't end. And this is a chance to not break open the game, but take a sizable lead against a very good YD team that, you're going to need to put up a lot of runs to shut them down.
Yeah, and we saw the Commodores have the bases loaded twice against Hyannis, and they came up empty.
Yeah.
So they need to capitalize a little bit more with runners in scoring position. When you're a team that needs to warm up a little bit offensively, it's about taking advantage when guys get on. And let's talk about the great job from Tawa, DeLoach, and Moretto to get on base. Granted, no hits between the 3 of them, but Tawa working a hit by pitch.
On the very first pitch.
DeLoach a walk, and then Moretto getting plunked as well.
They faced the minimum, only 4 pitches to DeLoach to get the walk, and then Moretto took 1 pitch, and it hit him.
They'll take it, though.
Yeah.
No question about it.
So poetic symmetry right now. It was the 3rd inning with 2 outs, and Falmouth had the bases loaded against Hyannis 2 nights ago. Couldn't get anything going. There's a ball to Barron Radcliffe. That was in a 3-2 ball game. They ended up tying the game in the next inning and then losing it by a monumental 10-4 score. But right now, they can just kind of X that game out of their memory and put this one at the top of mind. Pickoff move over to first base, but I don't know what that would accomplish. Moretto's got nowhere to go.
Tolman, we haven't talked about him too much. Rising sophomore at Arizona State. And he did really well at Arizona State, limiting damage with runners on base. Held opponents to under 200 batting average.
1-0 is a pitch a little too far inside, says Sam Finn. Now it's a friendly hitter's count, 2 balls to no strikes. We haven't seen a strike thrown since the Trey Cruz at bat.
And if I'm Barron, I'm looking for a pitch to hit here. He's not going to want to go down 0-2, is Tolman. And while a walk would get a run, a hit would do much more.
The 2-0 is a fastball right down the chute. Barron now shaking his head. Either it wasn't his pitch or he's regretting that he didn't take a swing.
Brett Becker, third base coach, just moved his hands as if to say swing.
Won't see many pitches better than that one. Won't get many counts better than 2-0 if you're a hitter. Here's the 2-1 from Tolman. Taken downstairs, 3-1. So Barron gets himself into another great hitter's count, and now they're 1 ball away from retaking the lead they had in the first. Remember, it's a 2-2 ball game here in the third. Tawa on third, Deloach on second, Moretto on first. Here's the pitch. Huge hack by Barron. Radcliffe comes up with nothing. Count is full.
And a good job by Tolman working back in this count. He was down 2-0, down 3-1. Fires a pitch. It looked like it had some late break, and Barron Radcliffe was on top of it. Now you can go fastball, try to blow it by him, maybe leave it a little bit upstairs, or you can go low or off speed.
Tolman rocks and fires the payoff pitch. It's a sharp ground ball towards the first base side. That's fielded cleanly by Wold. He will flip it over to first. The pitcher covering Tolman just gets there in time. It was a bang-bang play, but an out nonetheless, and that will do it. Falmouth, yet again, unable to capitalize with the bases loaded. They do score 1 run. They only rack up the 1 hit. No errors charged against Yarmouth-Dennis, and 3 runners left on base. We go to the bottom of the third. It's Falmouth 2 and YD 2 on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
To the bottom of the third we go, and finally Sam Hall, the 9-hitter for Yarmouth-Dennis, will get a chance. We're about 45 minutes into the ball game, and he has yet to take an at-bat thanks to 2 runs for either side and 6 collective hits. First pitch from Tyler Ross, he swings at, lifts it into left field. The ball keeps carrying, back at the wall, and making the grab is Zach Deloach. Keep in mind, it is a measly 345 to left field. So that one, despite looking like a pop-up off the bat, carried well, but is still an F7 on your scorecard.
Yeah, we're sort of positioned. We're staring right down that third base line. And I was like, is that thing seriously going to get out of here? Because the way that Deloach was tracking at first, it kind of looked like outfielders do when they watch a fly ball go over their heads, but he didn't have to move too much and made the catch.
First pitch swinging is Wyatt Young. That was a thunderous breaking ball from Tyler Ross. I mean, that thing just completely lost its momentum and bottomed out on Young.
He's looked good. Ever since that home run from Noah Campbell, he's faced the minimum. Just allow the one hit to Tirada, which was a ground ball up the middle.
0-1 is again in the dirt. Young was showing bunt. Moretto is going to point to the third base umpire, Gaetani, ask if he went around. He says no. Those are so tricky because it looked like he went around to me because he ran 10 steps out of the first base, out of the batter's box up the first baseline. Evidently, he pulled back the drag bunt. Now it's 1-1. Tyler Ross's pitch, a fastball way above the leadoff hitter's eyes.
But his off speed is breaking well. His fastball has some zip on it. The only hit he's allowed since the Noah Campbell home run came right after what looked like to be his fastest fastball of the night.
2-1. Sharp ground ball up the first base side and foul. Young was all over that breaker on the inside part of the plate. He's someone who's got such quick hands. I mean, he is he's a good hitter. He's impressive. He's got a really smooth swing. He's got quick hands. He's fast. And that was a sharp moving pitch on the inside part of the plate, and he got his hands around somehow to come around on it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the little guys. 5'7", 165.
2-2 breaking ball, throws out his bat at it. It's going to bloop into left field for a hit. He just knows how to hit the baseball. I mean, that was a slap shot that he was able to bloop out into left field. Some Tony Gwynn style hitting where it's see ball, hit ball, and move it to where I want it to go.
Yeah, because if you're that small, Danny, you got to be doing something right.
Yeah.
Like he knows how to hit to contact. He knows how to put it in those gaps. And again, didn't try to do too much with it. It was a fastball that he didn't want to come all the way around on and try to pull because it would have caused a ground ball, most likely to the right side of the infield. Instead, he just dropped the bat head a little bit, poked it into left field. Runner on base.
He's taken a big lead. Ross will come home. Pitch downstairs to Noah Campbell. Got to be careful to Campbell. It was a 1-0 count, just like it is right now, back in the first inning with Young on base. And Campbell blasted one over the center field fence. That is the only 2 runs that YD has scored in this 2-2 game. Pickoff move over to first base, but Young is back in plenty of time.
Campbell's second home run of the year. Moved his RBI count to 6.
And his average up, got to be near 500
It's an
at
even
this point.
500.
Yeah.
8 for 16.
Ross from the stretch. Lifts the leg, left leg, comes home with a fastball over the outside edge of the plate. Count evens up at a ball and a strike to the designated hitter from South Carolina.
Grew up in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Out in Durham. Went to Cardinal Gibbons High School.
Spurned the hometown Duke Blue Devils. Went with the Gamecocks. Fastball skips in the dirt. That one gets well behind Clonch, and Young is going to easily take second base on the wild pitch. So now the go-ahead run is in scoring position for Yarmouth-Dennis, and one of their most dangerous hitters is at the plate with an advantageous count.
Yeah, we've talked about how solid this YD batting order is, and Campbell, maybe one of the best MLB prospects on this team.
Oh, yeah.
For the 2020 D1 baseball prospects list, he's in the top 10. So we'll see as a rising junior where he goes next year around this time.
2-1 breaking ball. Oh, my goodness, that curveball had some drop to it. He went 12-6 with it, was about at the belt when it came across the plate, dropped to the knees, and Noah Campbell swung right through it.
I'd love to see a fastball here from Ross. Just trust your stuff. He can hit mid-90s, just get some giddy up on it and try to sit Campbell down.
2-2 the count. Ross looks back, Young at second. Lifts and fires home. It's a fastball, and it's flared out above the YD dugout. Foul ball. We'll try again.
That's just good hitting, right? If you have a guy who can throw a quick fastball, just make contact, spoil it. Give him something, or try to get yourself something to hit.
Ross looking in towards Clonch. Taking his time deciding on a pitch as Campbell is ready. Left-handed bat waggling above his back ear. Here's the 2-2 yet again. Goes downstairs with a breaking ball. Clonch has to dive over to his right side to keep it from skipping through his legs.
One of the bigger pitches that Ross has right here with a full count and a runner in scoring position in a tie game. He's got a fresh slate, right? That home run doesn't mean a whole lot now that it's tied 2-2.
It's just 0-0.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Here's the payoff pitch from Ross. Breaking ball clubbed right into the front foot of Campbell. Foul ball adamantly announced by Sam Finn behind home plate. And Noah Campbell just keeps doing everything right as he is able to waste a couple of fantastic pitches from Ross.
Umps have been solid tonight. Sam Finn, consistent strike zone behind the plate. Only close call that one of the players didn't like was Blake Dunn being called out at second base on that first third play.
So funny. I know Tawa was pretty upset with some of the calls over at first base when he was tagged out last game against Hyannis. Sometimes they, instinctively reach towards their ears. Payoff pitch yet again. Strike 3 called. High strike call against Campbell. He had launched the bat towards the third base dugout. He was ready to jog down to first. Instead, he's punched out on a pitch. Hey, looked like a strike to me, just below the letters.
Right when I said the umpire, Sam Finn, was doing a great job, Noah Campbell not happy with that call. I don't know. To me, Danny, that did look high from where I saw it. It looked like it was maybe a little above the letters, but it was a close pitch, so maybe you got to protect if you're Campbell. But
great frame by Claunch.
Some of the fans here not too happy with that call, but yes, Claunch doing his job as the catcher.
Austin Wells, who struck out swinging his first time up, one of the now 3 strikeout victims for YD, takes a ball low to Tyler Ross. Well, what I was about to say was that a lot of guys instinctively reach towards their ears like they're in college, like they're still in college ball, and saying, let's review that. That's kind of the hand motion that has been adopted. You can't replay strike calls like the one against Noah Campbell. Slow tapper up the third base line. Moretto gets to it in a hurry to keep it foul. 1-1 goes the count.
Wells struck out looking his last time up, also on a full count. Ross fired 40 pitches so far tonight. And he's had a lot of good control. 26 strikes, 14 balls.
Austin Wells from Las Vegas went to Bishop Gorman, a hotbed of talent in any sport, really. One of the best high school athletics in the country. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball sits low, 2-1. We saw 2018 Commodore, 5th-round draft pick, and Stanford Cardinal Jack Little. He went to Bishop Gorman out in Vegas.
Yeah, and Austin Wells hit .527 his senior year. And that's not at any school, right? That's at Bishop Gorman. That's insane.
2-1 the count. Ross looks back young. He's not paying him too much close attention. Goes to the fastball that misses outside. Now 3-1 to the 3-hitter Wells. So dangerous here. There are 2 outs, but with a runner in scoring position, he's moving on contact. And if you don't want to walk Wells, you're going to have to come at him with a strike.
Yeah, but Wells plenty of power as well. 2 doubles, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs. So you got to be careful with this pitch.
3-1 from Ross. Line drive up the middle. That one was absolutely rocketed. Young's going to come around and score with ease. And the hit parade continues for both sides as YD retakes the lead. They lead 3-2 thanks to the RBI single.
Yeah, that's just a good hitter. Taking a 3-1 fastball and roping it into right center field. Because if you're Tyler Ross there, honestly, you just don't want to get into the 3-1 count in the first place, right? Because then you have to fire a strike, like we said, but Austin Wells knows you have to fire a strike, so he's ready for it.
He was sitting fastball the whole way, too. A lot of hard-struck hits for YD, most of them off of fastballs. That's a breaking ball, and Riley King can't hold up. He falls behind 0-1. Wish we had, some of those not advanced like sabermetric stats, but, more in-depth stats that tell you which team hits fastballs really well. Because I feel like YD would be one of those teams. They have been all over Ross's heat. Here's the 0-1, another breaking pitch. Looks like Tyler has adjusted. He quickly gets ahead of King. No balls and 2 strikes on 2 off-speed pitches.
Yeah, so YD coming into the afternoon with the second best average on the Cape. Second most hits at 99.
0-2 to King. Just off the outside corner, 1 and 2. And we saw with the doubleheader, I mean, those were 2 7-inning games. We saw 20 hits in the first game, I think 14 in the second game. Runs scored galore.
Yeah, 15 in the first, 12 in the second. Those were long games, too, even though they were 7 innings.
These 2 teams are very competitive against each other. 1-2 downstairs. Claunch drops the ball. Runner was going from first, so Wells will take second base, stealing it without a throw.
But, yeah, you alluded to it, Danny. These 2 teams with quite the rivalry. Maybe not as much last year. They only played 4 times in the regular season. and split 2-2. But the 2 years before that, they met in the Cape Cod Baseball League Championship, YD winning both times.
Here's the 2-2 to King. He gets under it, fouls it out of play. That's just, so interesting to me that, 2 straight years they face each other. YD wins both times. They split the series 2-2. Right now they're split 1-1.
Right.
So it's a chance to split the season series again. And Falmouth has been a team that seems to be struggling at the plate against like Hyannis and Bourne. Then their bats came alive against Wareham, a really good team in the West. Their bats come alive against YD, a really good team. They play the good teams really well, but seem to falter against some of the less than lackluster teams. Here's the 2-2 yet again from Ross. Goes to the breaking ball again. It hits off the plate and off of the chest protector of Troy Clonch to run the count full.
And I think that speaks to the job that Chris Fitzgerald has done as general manager in his first year, Eric Zamuda before him, and the leadership at YD as well. These are two very good, not just teams year in and year out, but like programs and cultures, if you will.
They always have some of the most competitive players from the best schools, and they create the best summer teams. Payoff pitch from Ross. Fastball that's flown out towards center field. Tawa is coming on in. He calls for it, makes the grab on the run. That will do it for the third, but yet again, YD strikes. They score 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base as the Red Sox have retaken a 3-2 lead. We go to the top of the 4th inning on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare. Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Redshirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose as we will head to the top of the 4th inning. 8, 9, and 1 due up for the doors. YD has regained the lead. It's 3-2, each side with 4 hits and no errors in the field. That flag above the scoreboard in left field blowing out towards left field. So the wind also helps the balls get out of here at Red Wilson Field. So we've seen 1 home run tonight off the bat of Noah Campbell. Ball 1 is low to Troy Clonch.
I don't think the game's going to stay 3-2. Both these teams have been hitting each other so well. And Falmouth has been looking a lot better than they did a couple nights ago.
Strike 1 evens the count. Still on the bump is Eric Tolman, Arizona State Sun Devil, who's been solid so far today. This is his first start of the summer. Clonch takes another strike at the knees. He's now down in the count. Last time that Tolman was on the mound was on June 22nd against Chatham. Pitched an inning and 2/3, gave up 1 earned run on 1 hit, walked 1 and struck out 2. So much like Tyler Ross, a middle reliever, getting his first start. This one cracked into right center field, moving over to his right, and making the catch is Sam Hall, the center fielder. Riley King was ranging over from right, but Sam Hall in center makes a diving play for the first out.
I thought that was getting down no matter what, and I especially thought it was going to get down when I saw Hall dive, because he made the catch, I'm pretty sure, already after he was on his stomach. I mean, that was probably the best diving catch, best fielding play I've seen all summer long from any team, because he was full extension dive mid-slide as he made the grab. Unbelievable catch made out in center field by Hall.
Ball 1 is low to Kevin Kendall, who grounded out to second base his last time up. We've seen a couple great defensive plays today. Baron Radcliffe at first and Sam Hall in center. Foul ball off the plate, off the cleat, and down the third base line. Count even. Sam Hall out in center, Clemson University Tiger. Last summer was in Kalamazoo. Was an everyday starter for Clemson by the end of the season, and maybe an everyday starter for YD after that play. Ball 2 in the dirt. Tolman working quickly. He's already set to fire pitch number 4 of this at-bat. Kicks and delivers. This one down the left field line. It'll leak foul. 2-2.
Tolman's been very solid to lefties. When he's not hitting them, he's been very good against lefties, as he's not really giving Kendall anything to hit. He's not letting him get his arms extended at all, as Kevin broke his bat on that latest foul ball.
Yeah,
just goes to show how he can't get the arms extended.
Right. We've seen a couple broken bats today. I believe Baron Radcliffe also broke his bat on a foul ball. Hayden Cantrell standing in the on-deck circle. Reached base twice today and scored both runs for Falmouth. Kendall watches strike 3 at the knees. Oof. Just the second strikeout of the night for Tolman. 2 down here in the 4th.
And that one was pretty far below the knees, but we know how umpires love to call low pitches more so than high pitches. Not even a great frame job, I don't think, by Wells behind the plate. It looked about an inch below his knees, and he didn't really bring up the glove that much, but it was a quick punch out nonetheless. It's just going to be an adjustment that the Doors hitters have to make, is 2 strikes, pitch below the knees, might have to chase it.
Cantrell will watch one well in the dirt, so no question on ball 1 to the leadoff man. We've only seen 1-1-2-3 innings so far in this game. It came in unconventional fashion in the bottom of the 2nd as ball 2 misses high. Hayden Cantrell switch hitting, batting as a righty for the 3rd time today. This one hits Tolman off his cleat, barehanding at 3rd, but reaching first is Hayden Cantrell. Riley Tirada tried to make the play. Tolman is up and walking around. He has a smile on his face and seems all right. He'll get a meeting from the infield and from his head coach, Scott Pickler, nonetheless.
That was a bullet.
Yeah, 3rd hit of the day for Hayden Cantrell. And it first landed on the leg, maybe the cleat, of Eric Tolman.
Again, that was a bullet. I mean, I thought it hit off his shin, which it probably didn't, because if it did, he wouldn't be standing right now. I think you're right. It hit off his cleat. But again, how about Hayden's swing? His first hit of the game was one just like that. It got through the middle, it didn't hit the pitcher, went all the way into the outfield. And then this one, he hits it right off the pitcher. You can't get a better timed swing than that. Both of them really hard hit. Shows that he's got a little bit of jump in his swing. He's got the good bat speed like we were talking about, and he's really getting a charge into these balls. Just the swing is so good right now. I mean, you see why he was a draft pick in the 40th round. Doesn't have that big frame that they love out of high schoolers. Didn't have those power numbers, that would blow you away. But he's got a swing. There's just something about that swing which is so appealing and consistently puts him on base.
Tolman will check on Cantrell at first. He remembers what happened in the 3rd inning. First pitch that was delivered to Blake Dunn. Hayden Cantrell stole 2nd. Doors with 2 stolen bases tonight. Cantrell and Tawa. Cantrell leading off the bag again. He somehow gets in underneath the tag. A much closer play.
Yeah, that was a quick pickoff. I don't even know if Tolman stepped back on the rubber, and Cantrell got a little antsy. He was quickly off the bag. Tolman knew that. Kind of snap throw over to first base, but luckily Hayden has pretty good reflexes.
They'll check on him a 3rd time. Some inside info we just got on the first base umpire, Robert Wilson, from our very own Severin Lavenstein, was that a Cape League official was talking to him about being a little bit more emphatic and clear with his hand signs.
I haven't noticed. I
thought he's been pretty solid with a couple of the appeals and plays at first. Here's a pitch out.
Wow, they were really nervous about him.
So ball 1 high and away to Dunn.
Rightfully so. I mean, I think it's, 3 stolen bases now for Falmouth, maybe 2? And
2 today.
The one caught stealing was just because of a pickoff. It wasn't because of the throw from home.
They'll check on him a 4th time. Hayden Cantrell doesn't slide in. as he was ready for the check from Tolman. Tolman settles in the stretch, looks into his catcher Austin Wells, picks up his right leg and delivers. Dunn gets a piece of it, fouls it back into the screen, 1-1.
Hayden has now adequately scuffed up those pearly white cleats that he just got in the mail yesterday. Beautiful Adidas cleats, sparkling white. Oh, they were so pretty, and now they're covered in dirt around the toes.
Hayden wouldn't have it any other way. Here's a ball outside. As we talked to him last year about how his jersey was always dirty at the end of the game, he said that's how you know you played hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what my dad used to tell me.
Exactly.
He says if you don't come home...
Another check on Cantrell. Safe.
It's just getting it dirtier. He says if you don't come home from the game with your uniform dirty, it shows that you kind of took a day off.
Yeah.
Hayden has the same mentality. He's always getting it dirty, either with diving, attempting to dive at a ball in the infield or stealing a base. He somehow always gets some grub on it.
2-1 to Dunn. Drops low and a nice take from the two-hitter, Blake Dunn.
Yeah, these breaking balls haven't really been all that effective for Tolman. They've got some sharp break, but they've kind of been staying low the whole way. So it's a lot easier to lay off a pitch that drops out when it's already at your knees to begin with.
They check on Cantrell again, and now the Falmouth dugout is all in on this. They are all screaming. Not just Ryan Eiley, the first base coach, but whenever we get a check from Tolman, there is a chorus of voices from this first base side. And here he is going. The 3-1 is high and away anyways, so it's ball 4. This is going to be ball 4. This is a walk. There was a out call by the third base umpire, and some bells are ringing. Fans are cheering. But ball 4 was the call first. So Hayden Cantrell will be at second base and Blake Dunn at first. A little bit of confusion there.
Yeah,
but we still have 2 down.
Rarely do we see an umpire out in the field forget the count. And maybe he had already turned away, but that one was well upstairs. Hayden kind of gave like a, what, come on. Like he didn't realize either.
He didn't, yeah. And Gaetani bringing his hand up saying my fault. He looks into Sam Finn, the home plate umpire, and confusion has now subsided. 2 runners on and 2 outs. The Doors have been solid with 2 outs today. Scored their first run of the game in the first inning with 2 outs as ball 1 misses inside to the switch hitting Trey Cruz, who is batting as a righty, like Hayden Cantrell, for the 3rd time today. Scott Pickler walking out to the mound, and it looks like he's going to make a call to the bullpen.
Yeah, a lot of first pitch balls from Tolman. Looked like he kind of got uncomfortable up there. He has been falling behind just about every hitter. He's got the pitch count pretty far up as well, and this is a dangerous situation. So Pickler, weird that he's doing it mid-count after only 1 pitch was thrown, but not a surprising move at this point in time.
So the righty from Oregon will come in Cullen Kafka.
Just activated.
He was actually scheduled to be the starting pitcher for YD today. There was a late change in the lineup earlier this afternoon to give Tolman the start, and you had to think that Pickler was planning on going to Kafka in relief anyways, so here he is. He's a rising junior with the Oregon Ducks, and he got a tremendous workload out in Oregon last year. Most starts on the team, and tied for most quality starts on the team with 5. His numbers, other than that, weren't as strong. 5.48 ERA, a 5-5 record in 67 1/3 innings pitched.
Yeah, again, he had the most appearances, but not a tremendous workload in the Sam Strickland or the Tommy Sheehan sense of things, where they're close to 100 innings. He only had 67 1/3 innings pitched, which was still a lot. But you mentioned that ERA just under 6. It improved from his freshman year statistics. He had an ERA just under 7 his freshman year, brought it down a whole 100 points. So that's not bad at all, but still staying high. And again, when he came into pitch, didn't really throw all too many innings, a middle reliever in his own right.
A trio of Commodores are eyeing Cullen Kafka and taking their practice swings.
They're vultures.
They look like a pack of vultures right here in front of us. And Trey Cruz, who's going to switch and bat lefty because of the righty pitcher in Kafka. But the other 2, Tim Tawa and Zach Deloach. And looking a little bit more at Cullen Kafka's stats, from what I can deduce, he gets hit hard.
Yeah.
He gives up a lot of runs. It's not because he walks a ton of guys, only 42 walks in 67 1/3 innings pitched, but the batting average against, .319 his sophomore year, .312 his freshman year. That's not where you want it to be.
No, that's not going to cut it. I mean, even when you see a guy who has like a 270, 280 batting average against is pretty high up there, and have it above 300 is definitely not all that great. Oregon, though, we know, not the most talented team, so they have to, in order to stay competitive in the Pac-12, they're going to have to throw a guy like him a lot, and as long as he's not throwing balls, hopefully hard-struck balls will find his fielders mitts, and that's exactly what Pickler is hoping for here in Kafka's first appearance on the Cape.
So with a 1-0 count, Hayden Cantrell at second and Blake Dunn at first. Scott Pickler makes the call to the bullpen. And Cullen Kafka gets his first appearance of the summer. Towards the end of the year, he had a much shorter leash out in Oregon. His last 3 starts, 1 inning pitched, 2 1/3, and then 2 innings pitched. Speaking of getting hit hard, he gave up 3 home runs against Arizona State in late March and 3 home runs to Stanford in mid-April. Ball 2 upstairs to Trey Cruz, again, now batting as a lefty.
It's just so impressive. I mean, I know we've been raving about how Falmouth has so many switch hitters, but to be able to just move from the right side to the left side, that it's standard for Cruz, but it kind of it's striking. Is that it? To me?
Yeah.
There we
no,
go.
I agree. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
The 3-0 misses inside. Got to think red light here for Cruz, as Kafka just coming in is probably trying to find the strike zone. Again, the Doors have been pesky with 2 outs. Doing the same thing here in the top of the 4th. Kafka looks back to Cantrell at second, lifts and delivers. Strike 1 down the middle. You got to be thinking too, Danny, at this time, Sam Hall's play for the first out was so huge.
Yeah, you're right. Holy moly. I mean, that was a sure double, especially after he dove. It would have skipped up and over him, maybe even 3.
Can play some what-ifs and some hypotheticals, but if that did get down for Clonch, Doors have likely tied this thing up, if not taken the lead. Instead, they're down 3-2. Big cut from Cruz. He fouls one back towards the parking lot, and now a full count.
You mentioned a couple of moments ago that Falmouth has been so pesky with 2 outs. They do have a 2-out RBI from Tim Tawo back in the first, but it seems like with 2 outs and runners on base, especially runners in scoring position, this team just cannot get that run home. Now 3 times in the last 2 games, twice against Hyannis, once already, just last inning against YD, where they had the bases juiced in 2 outs, couldn't get it done.
Doors have left 5 on base so far today. Cruz with another healthy hack, and he fouls it back in the same direction.
And you're just waiting for that, monkey to get off your back.
Right.
You're waiting to get it off and run away and get off, out of that schneid you're on, because it just takes that one hit, and then everybody's going to be picking up on the 2-out hits. Tawa's done it once. He's on deck. As long as Cruz can get on base, maybe they can bank on the kid out of Stanford.
Kafka with a long look in to another Pac-12 player in Austin Wells, who's doing the catching. Pickoff move to first. Blake Dunn slides in safely.
Sneaky move.
Yeah,
I like that one. Wold is playing behind the bag, but he snuck in behind Dunn, who was taking a big lead, rightfully so, with nobody holding him on. Snuck in behind him. It was a quick spin-around throw, and credit Ryan Eiley getting his runner back in time.
3-2, 2 down. Runners will be going here. Here it is, another foul ball. Getting some encouragement from Tim Tawa on deck and the rest of the the rest of the Commodores in the dugout, as this will be pitch number 8 from Kafka to Cruz.
And again, we say it all the time, but the reason that it's so important to foul away 2-strike pitches is because you're going to foul away all the tough stuff, and then eventually a mistake's got to get made. I mean, something's got to give.
Cruz looping his bat around. Now it's above his left shoulder. Whereas number 2 batting as a lefty. Another foul ball. Can feel the tension rising here. Fans on the edge of their seats in a 1-run ball game. And again, Danny, another slow-moving game as runners are getting on for both teams and runs are being scored.
And a lot of walks, a lot of hit batsmen. I mean, YD has hit 2 guys already. They've walked a ton thanks to Tolman's control issues. It's part of the reason why Falmouth has those 2 runs, is they're getting some help from the YD pitching. Now it's down to Cruz to do something.
Cantrell on second, Dunn on first. 3-2, 2 down. Off speed, inside, ball 4. The Doors will have the bases loaded with 2 outs yet again here in the 4th inning.
And I don't feel like counting through all of my box scores, but if I were to guess, I would think that, I mean, Falmouth has had bases loaded 2 outs a ton of times this season. We mentioned 3 times in the last 2 games. And if I had to gauge a guess, I mean, most of the time it's because of walks. They seem to, with 2 outs, they get so many walks, and then with the bases loaded, even against Hyannis, they were able to get walks home. But they don't get those bases loaded hits. They don't get those 2 outs runner in scoring position hits. Maybe Tawa can do it like we were saying, but it just walk after walk after walk. This team is so good at getting on base.
First pitch to Tawa in the dirt. Nice stop by Austin Wells that might have saved a run.
Yeah, that was a great stop. That was a sharply moving breaking ball right off the plate, skipped up to. Wells we saw playing the outfield in Game 1 of the doubleheader. Moved to behind home plate in Game 2. He's back there again, so he's a versatile player.
Listed as a catcher for YD, but he can play the outfield. This one chopped off the plate, so that'll be foul. 1-1. Tim Tawa singled in the first, stole a base, and notched up an RBI, and then he was hit by a pitch in the third, made it all the way to third base. Deloach was on second, Moretto was on first before the inning-ending ground out off the bat of Baron Radcliffe. 3-2 ball game in favor of the home YD Red Sox. Colin Kafka trying to get out of a jam. Not all of his doing. As Tolman puts some runners aboard. Strike number 2 tags the outside black. 1-2.
Kafka's got pretty good stuff. He's just got to hit the plate. I mean, he's got some nicely moving breaking pitches. Even the 3-2 pitch that's set just below the knees to Cruz. Cruz was about to swing. He leaned his hips forward and everything, and it just missed the plate. So now Tawa's got his work cut out for him with 2 strikes.
Kicks and delivers. Ball just a little bit low. I waited to call that one because I didn't know if it was going to be a ring up from Sam Finn.
And yet again, Tawa kind of leaning the shoulders forward. You know, he's reacting to it. He knows these are close. But again, credit the eyesight of these Doors hitters and the patience.
Good take from the righty from Stanford University, batting cleanup tonight. He already has 1 RBI. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Looked like a slider that broke outside, and Tawa needed to protect, so he went chasing. Doors leave the bases loaded again. They score no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leave 3 on base to total 8 on the night. YD still with a 1-run lead as we head to the home half of the 4th. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development, online at www.curry.edu. Urgent Care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Tyler Ross back on the bump for the Doors. YD still with a 1-run lead. And Red Wilson Field is famous for multiple reasons. It's one of 10 historic fields in the Cape Cod League, but also the hurler, Danny.
It's aptly named.
So this is a famous dish that is served here at Red Wilson Field, off speed and swung through by Andrew Eister for an 0-1 count. They serve a cheeseburger, but the bun is a jelly donut.
Doesn't have to be jelly.
It doesn't have to be jelly.
Sometimes
I believe
it's
the
a
hurler
chocolate donut.
is the jelly donut one, but you can get some variation as the second pitch is fouled down the third base line, and it's 0-2. You can get frosted, you can get chocolate frosted, you can get glazed as your bun. But the go-to is the jelly donut.
Yeah.
And Katie Florio, our sideline reporter, tried it out. Not only did she try it out, Jeff Trundy, head coach of the Commodores, tried it out. Check that out on our social media, at Fal Commodores on Twitter. Off speed, swung through a beautiful beautiful 3 pitches from Tyler Ross for the first out here in the bottom of the 4th.
Ross with a fantastic sequence, kept everything low, kept everything inside, finally went with a low breaking ball, swung over the top to Deister. I mean, that's just textbook from Tyler Ross. That's what he's got to have every inning if he wants to keep this YD team at bay. My final comment on the hurler thing is I think Katie and Coach Trundy were as excited about it as I am speaking about it.
Fastball off the mound and up the middle. First pitch swinging was Jack Wold, who's aboard with a 1-out single. So you're not a fan?
We sampled it last year. It's still on my Instagram page.
Right.
It's way down there on Falmouth's Instagram. We did it. We sampled it during the we did it during the broadcast.
That
which
was
is
fun.
A risk.
That was fun.
And no, it was pretty gross.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of craving one right now.
God. And a bunch of, you mentioned it, a bunch of other teams, their sideline people have tasted it. They kind of agreed with me.
Riley Terrada's up now. He fouls back the first pitch towards that food shack. I mean, this is perfect.
Serendipity.
I think that I'm being called to get a hurler between this.
You know what? The man to your left, our web reporter Maxwell Trank, he legitimately used the word love. He said, I loved it. He ate it in about 4 bites. He massacred that thing. And I was appalled.
Appalled, horrified. Strike number 2 right down the middle. Ross has been firing here in the 4th. Last comment, just follow our social media, at Fal Commodores on Instagram and Twitter. See some great content, and I think that's one of the best pieces we've had up on our social media.
The fact that we got the team coach to eat it.
I really wanted to see Trundy's reaction, and it did not disappoint. Rosy-cheeked, taking a bite of a hurler. Ball 1 misses outside.
He's one of the more lax coaches on the Cape. A lot of other coaches can get pretty intense, and when it comes around to game time, they're kind of no nonsense. Jeff is always.
What was it? 20 minutes before game time. Katie walks over there with a burger sandwich between a jelly donut. The 1-2. Tried to go to that same punch-out pitch that got Andrew Eister, but Riley Terrada lays off. It's 2-2.
Gonna need to put a little more oomph on it. That one is breaking right at the plate, so Clonch is catching it pretty low in the dirt. The way he was able to get Eister was he had maybe an extra, half a foot on it. So it broke a little bit later, which is a lot tougher to register when you're at the plate.
Terrada calls for time. Might have gotten something in his eye as he wipes beneath his helmet and steps back in. The righty who hit a home run against the Doors on Sunday with a 2-2 count. Inside, ball 3. But again, that chorus of praise from his teammates as that had some zip on it.
Yeah, he's not missing by much. He's got, some great punch-out pitches that he went to with 2 strikes, which is what you're supposed to do, is throw it out of the zone. Just got to credit Terrada. Fantastic eye to lay off these.
So the 3-2 with 1 out and 1 on. Fouled away.
Another comment about Max?
Yeah.
Is he parked his car
I thought the same thing.
Right on the edge of the fence.
Yes,
which is
he did.
30 feet behind us, and that ball off the bat went about 30 feet behind us into the parking lot.
That's rule number 1 of this park is you got to go away from the field. Parking lot is not far behind. Running on the pitch, this one grounded down the third base line. It'll stay fair. Moretto with a long throw, stretched by Radcliffe. They got him. Nice play by Steven Moretto, who made that play look textbook.
Yeah, and I think Steven kind of got a late jump to it. With the runner going, he was, and the ball right nestled along the left field line. I think Moretto was hoping it was going to trickle foul just so that he wouldn't, risk an infield hit and the runner wouldn't be able to advance to second base. But he made up for it. He got over there, made the snag, and with a long, hard throw, a full 180 feet and a great stretch from Radcliffe, they were able to get Terrada by a mile.
Yeager swings at the first pitch. It's nubbed over to short. On the run, Cruz. Radcliffe comes off the bag, tries to slap on the tag, coming home, but making the tag at home is Troy Clonch. Jack Wold got greedy. He thought that it sailed past Barron Radcliffe. So that's a 6-3-2 putout to end the bottom of the 4th inning. So is that counted as a left on base? That would be, right? Because he reached first?
I guess so.
So a one hit for the YD Red Sox, but the inning ends no runs and one left on base. We head to the 5th inning. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu. The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Zach DeLoach will start off the top of the 5th inning for the Commodores. Doors again leaving the bases loaded in the 4th, Danny, as strike 1 settles in at the knees.
Yeah, it's been 4 loaded bases in the last game and a half for Falmouth. Only once have they gotten runs home. No hits with the bases loaded.
The 0-1 fouled back right towards us. Tony, how's the computer? I'm getting a nod. We're all good.
Thanks for the Spence.
Yeah, we'd be in trouble. Sun is now set a little bit, at least from where we're situated.
It's harsh on the field.
The 0-2 over towards second base, and Wyatt Young can't get there. Zach DeLoach with his first hit since game 1 against YD. He's aboard with nobody out.
Great 2-strike hitting from Zach DeLoach. That was a low pitch. It was a little below the knees, and the first pitch he saw this at bat looked below the knees, looked like a ball. It was called a strike. I think DeLoach realized that. He knew that low strikes were called. He didn't want to get punched out, went down, slapped that one, and Kafka gave him too good of a pitch. You don't want to go with a slow pitch over the middle of the plate like that when you've got a guy 2 strikes. You want to go out of the zone, but credit DeLoach nonetheless.
Moretto lays off the off-speed, which lands outside. Baron Radcliffe on deck, who made a nice heads-up play to throw home to Troy Clonch, getting Jack Wold at the plate by a mile. Kafka lifts his left leg and delivers. Here's one over towards third base. Bobbled a little bit by Terada. Throw on to first. Moretto beats it out. 2 on, nobody out here in the top of the 5th.
It's got to be an E5. It is. That's an error charged against Terada at third base. Each team now has 1 error, and Baron Radcliffe coming up first and second. I said it in between innings. It's a little harsh, but you got to think for the Commodores right now, the lack of bases loaded hitting, you want to get that hit right now because it seems like when the bases get loaded, nothing happens.
Granted, and this is a small silver lining, but a lot of the times that they've had the bases loaded is with 2 outs.
That's true.
Radcliffe watches ball number 1, which is not squeezed by Wells, and it leaks to his right. So moving on to third is DeLoach. Moretto on to second. 2 runners in scoring position for Baron Radcliffe, who's 0 for 2 today, but had one of the days of his life yesterday at Fenway Park. Just go on Twitter and search his name. You'll see some scouts and some college baseball experts ranting and raving about the man from Georgia Tech who's playing first base tonight for the Doors. Clonch on deck, Kendall in the hole. Off speed low, and a nice block by Wells to save a run.
Yeah, Wells bounced back from his pass ball just a pitch ago. It was a pitch down and in. I think he was set up outside, but it still hit off the tip of his mitt. Should have squeezed it nonetheless. Wasn't in the dirt at all. Let it get away from him. Barron now has 2 runners in scoring position thanks to the pass ball. Nobody out. This is a huge, huge opportunity.
Kafka from the stretch. Misses low, 3-0. Went to the fastball but didn't want to leave it high for Radcliffe. Instead, he's got a claw back from a 3-0 count here with nobody out in the top of the 5th and runners on 2nd and 3rd.
And you're only down 3-2 if you're the Doors, so you don't need a home run right here. Barron doesn't have to do too much. I know it's such an opportunity where you're like gapper, gapper, gapper.
Right.
But again, a fly ball will tie the game.
Here's the 3-0. Strike one about belt high. Again, Kafka coming in relief. And him forcing the out to Tim Tawa and getting that K made Tolman's line final. 3 2/3 innings pitched. 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 Ks. The 3-1. Swung on and missed, strike 2. He went fastball again, Danny.
Yeah, it was about at the knees. Barron took another big hack. I mean, I don't know what it is, how he's got that great swing in
square him up,
BP
yeah.
and just can't square up these fastballs when it comes to game time. Might just need to shorten the swing, honestly.
Full count. Nobody out, 2 on. Swung on and missed, strike 3. A big K from Cullen Kafka for the first out.
Kafka comes back from 3-0 down and gets a called strike followed by 2 big swinging strikes to retire big bad Barron Radcliffe. That is the absolutely most necessary and ideal out that he could have gotten. But now he's got to do it again because there's still no double play in order, so he's got to pretty much strike out Claunch. Infield is back. Ground ball will score the run.
Claunch 1 for 2 today. He singled back in the 2nd, but was left stranded at 1st. He watches ball 1 outside. It seems like he's going to that outside off-speed pitch to start off the at-bats.
Maybe looking just to keep guys off tempo, but again, he's not hitting the plate with it, so it's not going to fool anybody, especially early in counts. Maybe you can get somebody with 2 strikes. Definitely not when it's 0-0.
We saw it against Radcliffe, and it got past Wells to move the base runners. Ball 2 misses away.
Pretty much the same exact pitch. He's looking to get Claunch to lunge. I don't know if he's going to do that. Troy is one of the more patient hitters. I know all these Doors hitters are patient, but Troy definitely up there for a guy who doesn't chase.
No runs have been scored since the bottom of the 3rd inning. That was the go-ahead run to put YD up 3-2. Fastball back to Wyatt Young. 1 hopper. He'll throw on to first. The run will score. It's an RBI ground out for Troy Claunch, and this game is tied.
Well, you know what? It's not ideal, but when you're a team that's struggling to hit with runners in scoring position as much as the Commodores are, that's what you want. I mean, it ties the ball game. It advances a runner. Now you've got a guy only 90 feet away. Kevin Kendall at the plate as well. He's a very good 9-hole hitter. So still in business are the Doors, and it's better than a strikeout.
Kendall, the lefty from UCLA, stands at just 5'10". Colin Kafka fires a first pitch strike. Kafka also a rising junior. He's got a little bit of height on Kendall. He's 6'4", 212 from Walnut Creek, California. The 0-1. Swung on and missed, strike 2. Down low below the knees, but Kendall swung nonetheless. He's down 0-2.
Yeah, I think Kevin is looking for that big hit. He's got 2 hits on the season. One of them was a long double. I think he wants to get that go-ahead RBI off of his bat. Was just a little too anxious on the pitch well below his knees.
First two batters reached for the Commodores. One of them has scored into Loach. Kafka wants to limit the damage. He'll step off the mound and take his time. The dirt on that mound is now in the shade. But Kafka standing with the sun in his eyes.
Means the ball's coming from sun to shade, too. Makes it tougher to register for Kendall.
Wells will talk it over with Kafka as the sun is setting beyond the third base dugout.
Once again, with Robert Gaudy from East Dennis, Mass.
So we're facing north right now. I had to think that one out for a sec.
Pretty much direct north. I mean, the sun is
I
directly
think most of
setting due
the
west.
fields face north. I know Falmouth does.
What's the
because it
one
sets-
field where the sun sets right in your eyes?
Ooh,
There's one.
that's a good question.
It's the worst.
Chatham. 0-2, check on third. Did they get him? Yes, they did. Straying off the bag was Steven Moretto. They might have talked that over in the conference with Wells and Kafka because that was a high pitch, maybe deliberately so. So Moretto is thrown out on the base paths to end the inning. 1 run on 1 hit and 1 error. Nobody left on base for the Commodores. They've tied the ball game, though. It's 3-3, heading to the bottom of the 5th.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. The 99
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 Restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 Restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Pitching change for the Commodores. Tyler Ross's first start ends with a pretty good line. 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. No walks and 4 strikeouts. That stands out. And now they go to Aiden Maldonado, the righty from Illinois.
Yeah, Maldonado, former draft pick by the Milwaukee Brewers, coming in for, I believe, his 3rd appearance this is on the Cape. He was very sharp in his 2nd after throwing a lot of walks in his 1st, and it's a very important one as well in a tie ball game.
Ball 1 misses to Sam Hall. Maybe the defensive play of the game out in center field to rob Troy Claunch of an extra base hit in the 4th. That was the top of the 4th where the Commodores were kept off the board despite loading the bases. Here's the 1-0. It's upstairs to make it 2 balls and no strikes.
Maldonado's first appearance was against Hyannis on June 14th, 2 weeks ago. He threw 2 innings, 2/3 of an inning, allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 2 hits, 2 walks. Definitely not his best outing, but then responded with a fantastic outing against YD in the Game 1 win on Sunday.
2-0 is a strike right down Broadway to get him back in the count.
That outing, he threw an inning and 2/3, faced the minimum, and did not allow anybody to reach base. Also didn't get any strikeouts, so he was pitching to contact and getting outs. We'll see if he can do that again against this YD team.
9-1-2 due up for the Red Sox here in the 5th. The 2-1 fastball inside part of the plate for a strike. Hall flew out to left field his first time up, and it was a high fly ball back by that fence, which only reaches 345 down the left field line. Scoreboard perched above Zach DeLoach out in left field as well. It reads Merrill Red Wilson Field, home of the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox. 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike three. Beautiful off speed from Maldonado, bottomed out for his first K.
And Aiden's not a big strikeout pitcher. I mean, this past year at Illinois, his freshman year, 23 strikeouts and 26 innings pitched. That's less than a K per inning. Had 30 walks as well, so he had more walks than strikeouts. And again, like I said, in his only two outings on the Cape, no strikeouts. That was his first one, and he looked like he had strikeout stuff. I mean, got a 2-2 count on some pretty nasty stuff, and then threw that amazing breaker that broke way outside to Hall. He had no chance on it. Looks like Maldonado's he could be that guy if he could hit the zone more.
Pitches from the stretch, even with nobody on. Here's the first pitch to Wyatt Young. Strike one. Harder to throw a strike against a 5'7" lefty. And Wyatt Young has been pesky at the plate today for YD. He's reached base twice and scored both times. Hit by a pitch in the first, singled in the third. On deck, Noah Campbell. This one lofted down the left field line. Ranging over is Deloach. It'll land closer to the YD bullpen in foul territory, 0-2. Aiden Maldonado wearing number 41 for the Commodores. Chris Sale wore number 41 for the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox and played at this very field. He said that is why he wears 41 for the Boston Red Sox. That's how he chose his professional number, was because of his summers on Cape Cod.
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Has not changed his number since. The outstanding lefty from Florida Gulf Coast. A little bit of a shaky start this year for the Sox, but he's settling down. The 0-2. Swung on a miss, strike three. Fastball blew it by him. Two quick Ks for Maldonado.
Well, if Maldonado was given 41 because of Chris Sale, doubt it, but he's looking like Sale nonetheless. I mean, that fastball blown right by Young, who's a great fastball hitter, going to talk it over with Austin Wells, who's on deck now. Austin Wells just kind of talking to Young just then, and Young shaking his head. It looks like he maybe either wasn't expecting fastball or just it had more zip on it than he expected. I don't know what it is, but Maldonado seems to have these YD hitters kind of in a vice.
It's the second time he has faced the Red Sox, as you mentioned, Danny, and he looks very comfortable. His first time out against Hyannis, he struggled, but ever since he's looked like a different pitcher. Here's Noah Campbell, who is a different hitter for the YD Red Sox, and ball one misses high.
He did strike out looking in the third. It was a questionable punch-out pitch, but he's human, just like the rest of us.
What a great at-bat he worked in that third inning. Didn't end the way he wanted, but worked a full count, fouled off a handful of pitches. Did he go? No, he did not, says third base umpire Mike Gaetani.
I think Maldonado is very careful with him, too, because he knows that Campbell can put YD in the lead with one swing of the bat. It's a small ballpark. He's a guy already with a home run today, 2 home runs on the season. So he knows that he's got to throw carefully to Campbell, which is why he's now down 2-0, I believe. Good pitch.
Strike one, belt high on the outside black. Noah Campbell, as we mentioned, from South Carolina. Goes to South Carolina. From North Carolina.
Yeah. The Carolinas.
Batted .239 this past year. He watches strike number 2 on the inside part of the plate. The Commodores in the dugout knew that was a strike before Finn even called it. 2-2.
Funny how that works. Bats .239 this past year, but like you mentioned in his first at-bat, he is a top 10 prospect for next year's draft according to D1 Baseball. Again, it's those intangibles that guys have. They don't have to bat .400 in college for scouts to know this guy's dangerous.
2-2, 2 outs, bases clear. Maldonado kicks and delivers off speed. Skips at the front edge of the batter's box and makes the count full. Maldonado and Illinois, 2 seed in a regional. They were bounced in that first stage. He's from Minnesota, from Rosemount. Here's the 3-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Aiden Maldonado strikes out the side. including Wyatt Young and Noah Campbell, two of the best hitters in this lineup and two of the best hitters here today. We'll likely see him in the bottom of the 6th, but first, we'll see the Commodores come to the plate. It'll be Kevin Kendall, Hayden Cantrell, and Blake Dunn after the break. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day, like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. The 99 Restaurants has 9 real...
Top of the 6th inning, and we got a great game on hand between the Red Sox and the Commodores. Tie ball game at 3-3. These two teams played a handful of close games last year and split the season series 2-2. So far, they've played 2 games and each won 1. First pitch swinging is Kevin Kendall. He nubs it back towards the pitcher, Kafka, who fields it and throws on to first, 1 down. Kevin Kendall was up with 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning. He had an 0-2 count, but then a long conference from Wells and Tolman. And what do you think? Was that an intentional high pitch to check on Moretto at third?
I don't think so. It just seemed like Tolman couldn't agree on a pitch. He was the one who called Wells over, unless he saw out of the corner of his eye that Dunn was straying off the bag a ton and wanted to say something. But I honestly think that was just, a spur-of-the-moment good decision by Wells.
Strike 1 to Cantrell, so Steven Moretto, who reached on an error, made it all the way over to third and was thrown out on the base paths to end that half inning. Ball 1 misses outside. Cantrell's reached base 3 times today and tapped home plate twice. 2 singles and a hit by pitch for the leadoff man. He watches strike number 2. Looks like a curveball on the outside black. Kafka working quickly. Here's the 1-2. Same pitch, just outside.
Throwing a lot more strikes this inning. It's almost like, what's the Kafka we're going to find? Came on in the 4th, was pretty efficient. Then in the 5th, ran into a lot of trouble.
Cantrell with a 2-2 count. Lays off chin-high fastball. 3-2. Stolen a base as well has Cantrell. Moves him to 4 for 5 on the base paths this year. Kafka from the windup, now fully in the shade. Delivers. High, ball 4. Cantrell will reach first for the 4th time tonight.
He's just a machine. He gets on base constantly, and with a rare walk, Hayden has been a hit machine, getting on base a ton, getting hit by pitches, and hitting the ball. But that is only his 2nd walk of the summer.
That's crazy.
Unreal for a leadoff hitter who's now, 39 at-bats deep?
Yeah, he's been outstanding and a perfect 2 for 2 on the day. Blake Dunn's had a solid day as well. He's 1 for 2 with a walk, his most recent time up. And guess what? YD's going to check on Cantrell at first. Throw over to Jack Thomas Wold, but he slides in safely.
Cantrell's enticing for it. He's dancing over there. He wants to be checked on.
2nd time in save. And he's now painted in dirt.
Yeah, that's
From
going to be
cleat to the top of his jersey.
I don't know if it's a GM intern or a player who does the laundry, but good luck with the number 5 jersey.
First pitch to Dunn is outside. Looks like a curveball. 1-0 the count to the right fielder. Blake Dunn has played center plenty this season. He's also played right a couple of times, rising junior at Western Michigan. 1-0. Strike one, fastball right down the middle. Dunn batted .374 with the Broncos this year. 9 doubles, 5 home runs from Sagatuck, Michigan. 2019 first team All-MAC. The 1-1. Pitch out and a check down at first from Wells. 2-1 count, and Cantrell is safe.
You know the phrase, I know you know the phrase, but you know the phrase free real estate in someone's head?
Yes.
Hayden Cantrell
He's got a beachfront.
He's got a beachfront property in the heads of Austin Wells and every YD pitcher, and probably Pickler as well.
Right on cue. Check down at first. And the thing is, they're really not that close on these pickoffs. They were the last time up because Tolman, a lefty, had a little bit of a trickier pickoff move.
They're trying to repossess that house. They can't get it. Cantrell's all over it.
The 2-1. Cracked back towards the parking lot.
And again, I remind you, he wants them to check over. He just faked to steal to second base. You know, a lot of guys just kind of get tired of it. They maybe start to get a little staggered over at first base, so they say, I don't want to get caught. Maybe I'll take a little bit less of a lead. He takes a bigger lead after they try to pick him off. He fakes the steal. Just keeps dancing around there.
Do you think he sleeps?
Probably sleeps like 12 hours a night to have this much
I was going to say, he either
game.
sleeps none or he sleeps, a lot to be able to go at this pace with this energy so consistently. Blake Dunn at the plate with a 2-2 count. Hayden Cantrell at first, if we haven't mentioned it yet. Kafka settles from the stretch. Exhales, lifts his left leg. Running is Cantrell, and not even throwing is Austin Wells. Ball in the dirt, 3-2 count, and now a man on second.
I think Wells just knew. I mean, it's a breaking ball. He had to go out of his crouch to get it, so it wouldn't have been a quick pop time, and Cantrell was about halfway down the base paths. He could have thrown it down there. He wouldn't have gotten him. It's not like it was like there was no chance at it. If he threw a dart, maybe, but I think Wells was like, enough of this, whatever, just let him take it.
2-2. Misses outside again. Ball 4. So the stolen base doesn't mean all that much. It's runners on first and second with 1 out. Regardless, and Trey Cruz coming to the plate.
Huge opportunity. I mean, Falmouth has had, for now, 4 straight innings, at least 2 runners on base. The third, they had the bases loaded. The fourth, they had the bases loaded. The fifth, they had 2 runners on at one time. Second and third, and nobody out. Got 1 run home. Now in the 6th, they have first and second, 1 out. Heart of the order at the plate, led by Trey Cruz, the 3-hitter.
Yeah, just 1 inning where the Commodores have not left a runner on base, and it was the 5th. First pitch swinging is Cruz. He chops a ground ball towards the Falmouth dugout, an 0-1 count.
And that's because the runner got picked off at third base.
Exactly. They left a runner at the plate, or a batter at the plate, I should say. 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error for the Commodores. 3 runs on 5 hits, 1 error for the Red Sox. Are these 2 teams rivals? I have no idea.
It's so evenly matched.
Yeah. The 0-1 misses low. Good takes as Hayden Cantrell out at second base. Middle infield and Jack Wold are in the sun, as are all 3 outfielders. But the shadow from the trees is covering Riley Tirada at third base, as well as the catcher, Trey Cruz, and the home plate umpire. Cracked over towards Wyatt Young. This could be 2. On to short for 1. On to first for 2. Young to Yeager to Wold. And the Commodores leave 1 runner stranded, now totaling 9 on the night. It's still 3-3. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning, and we'll be back with a special hit from our sideline reporter, Katie Florio, after the break. Stay tuned to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development, online at www.curry.edu.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. Like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99.
David Korzanowski joined alongside Katie Florio as Danny LaRose steps off the mic for a sec. And Katie, we talked about it a little at the top of the broadcast. Fenway Day yesterday. What did head coach Jeff Trundy have to say?
You know, he's been coaching this team for 21 years. 13 years now they've been doing Fenway Day, and he said it never gets old. He just loves the fact that his guys are able to showcase their skills in front of scouts, you know, try to give themselves an opportunity to play at the next level. But he also said, you know, every time he goes, he loves showing them a little piece of history. He still gets chills walking into Fenway every single time when you think about how iconic that ballpark is. Some of the names that have played there, Ted Williams, Jim Rice. It's a great day for everyone involved.
Now, what did you see from him yesterday? Anything in particular, any conversations or attitude that he had?
You know, he said so many times that it's all for the kids, and he's kind of a quiet, reserved guy, and so I feel like every time I look at him, he's just kind of soaking it all in. He's so happy for them. I've said before, he always has their best interest, and so it just kind of looks like he's in awe every time he's watching his players be able to do what they love.
Thank you so much, Katie. We'll get Danny back on the mic, and stay tuned to our social media to see Katie Florio throughout this game. Aiden Maldonado back up with Austin Wells at the plate. Ball 1 is low. Maldonado struck out the side in the 5th inning. Trying to keep that momentum going here in the 6th. 1-0 is the count to Wells. Maldonado, the righty from Illinois. This one into right field, for a base hit with nobody down.
So he won't stay perfect. I mean, 3 straight strikeouts swinging is pretty good start, but won't stay for Aiden Maldonado, as there's a great piece of hitting by Wells.
And Wells really looks like the Pac-12 freshman of the year, doesn't he, Danny? Yeah. Even when he's not hitting bombs or doubles, I mean, both of his singles have been great pitches. He knows what's coming, and he just makes solid hard contact.
Yeah, he's one of the best hitters at the plate, and this is a team that is chock full of really good hitters. And Wells, I think, just has the smoothest swing. He's got the best approach.
So Maldonado has his first runner on, and he's going to try to steal. Quick pop from Clonch. Did they get him? No, he got under the tag. Hayden Cantrell bobbled the ball a little bit. Austin Wells now 3rd stolen base on the summer, and a runner in scoring position with nobody down.
Yeah, it wasn't the best throw from Troy Clonch as he had skipped it in the dirt. Cantrell made a really nice pick as it scooped up high, but again, it slows down enough being thrown well off. If he had it on a line, would have gotten the out. And how about that? Catcher with a stolen base.
Yeah, well, he plays some outfield as well, as we mentioned, so we know he has some speed. Now Riley King, the cleanup man, who's 0 for 2 today, has the chance to get an RBI. Righty from Georgia University. Check swings. Did not go around 2-0.
So no strikes have been thrown by Aiden Maldonado unless you count the hit by Austin Wells. That's coming off of an inning again where he had 3 strikeouts, struck out the side all swinging. Maldonado, that's 1-1. That was a strike? That was a ball.
I guess maybe they said he did go around.
Oh, interesting. Well, point remains where he's still got to throw a lot of strikes.
Sure.
If he wants to repeat that success.
Maldonado. Slider. Misses in. Riley King, a Georgia Bulldog. They were bounced in the regional round by one of the upset teams, one of the stories of the NCAA tournament this year. That's Florida State, Mike Martin's last year. The 2-1 from Maldonado is a fastball that's fouled up and out of play. Florida State beat Georgia handily twice to knock them out of the regional, and this was a very good Georgia team this year.
Yeah, they were pretty good, but they do what those Georgia teams always do. I mean, year after year, it seems like Georgia is hosting regionals, and then year after year, they rarely, make it too deep. I don't remember the last time they were in Omaha. It was funny because there were a lot of Georgia fans giving Georgia Tech gripe for being a top 4 team. Both of them didn't get up out of their own regionals, so both of them were kind of ended up in the same place.
2-2 to King. Fastball in the dirt. Clonch blocks it. 3-2. Last year, at this time, King was playing in the Coastal Plains League with the Macon Bacon. 306 batting average. 49 hits. 13 doubles. Longer season in the Coastal Plains League. Maldonado takes a look back at Wells at second base. Here's the 3-2. High and inside, and it gets his back shoulder. Another hit by pitch, and now the YD Red Sox are in business with 2 runners on and nobody out.
And here come the control woes. I was just saying it a moment ago that he's got to throw strikes to be successful if you're Aiden Maldonado. And Maldonado ran into trouble his first time against Hyannis because he allowed those 2 walks, couple of hits in less than an inning of work. Now he's running into ball trouble again, falls behind 2-0, now 3-2, then hits a batter, and that's going to for sure get a visit from Mike Landry. You just got to settle him down and get him back to what he was in the 5th inning.
Mike Landry, 8th season as the pitching coach, and I had a really interesting conversation with him talking about that groove because he was talking about how tough it's been, multiple times to us, about how tough it's been to manage the pitching staff with all the rainouts, especially relievers, especially guys you have to balance who are going home earlier in the summer.
Right.
You have to get them their reps, like a guy like Bryce Miller, who will be leaving next week from Texas A&M. And he said that even as a coach, he feels a little rusty. He feels like his calls to the bullpen and his instincts haven't been as sharp because they haven't been playing every day.
Yeah, it's definitely a valid thing to say. I think, for anything, if you're not practice makes anything you do, whether it's playing sports, whether it's coaching sports, whether it's playing music, whether it's broadcasting, practice will always make you better. And the more consistently you do it, the more instinctual it gets, the easier it gets. At the same token, every team is struggling with these same rainouts, so every team is trying to get into a groove. And I think that's why we see a lot of teams at 500, looking really sharp in one game, looking really bad in another game. And Falmouth just has to be, they got to be like everybody else. They can't use that excuse too far and say, oh, the reason that we're behind everybody is because of the rainouts. Sure. Well, everybody's had to deal with it also.
Fair point. The Commodores playing just their 11th game, so they still trail every other Cape League team in games played. They have a date with the Bourne Braves tomorrow at Duran Park. If the rain stays at bay, we got thunderstorms in the forecast. Here's a bunt down the first base line, but foul.
Nobody can bunt against Falmouth pitching. No one has been able to pull it off successfully.
You keep bringing it up, and I always keep forgetting it until you remind me.
It's either a foul ball, typically up the third base line, or like we saw last game when, who was it? It was McDaniel. Chad McDaniel bunted right back at the pitcher and was an out, and then this one was nearly a pop-out on a bunt. Has not been one successful bunt by another team.
Maldonado trying to work out of a jam. He had a great first inning of work against hitters 9-1 and 2, allowed a single to Austin Wells, and hit Riley King on a full count. Here's another bunt attempt, popped down the first base line. Baron Radcliffe tries to get there, but he can't make the catch. It's 0-2, so we won't see a bunt here from Andrew Eister.
Baron Radcliffe got there quick.
Yeah.
He was moving before the pitch came in. He nearly caught that one on a fly, even though I don't even think got halfway up the first baseline.
Eister, another South Carolina Gamecock, rising junior. 6'3", 205. Batted .309 this past year. From Ocala, Florida. Went to Forest High School. He's got an 0-2 count with 2 runners on. Aiden Maldonado on the mound for the Commodores. He exhales, looks once, looks twice at Austin Wells, and delivers. This hit him. Off speed that hit Eister and then hit the inside shoulder of Troy Clonch, who takes his time behind the plate. He's going to get a visit from Falmouth's trainer as well. Bases are juiced, nobody out. Troy Clonch.
He's fine. He's a trooper. That hit him much more squarely than it hit Eister.
Yeah.
It maybe nicked off of Eister's pant leg. I mean, that was as slim. I didn't even think it hit him at first until he threw down the bat and started jogging. It hit him as slightly as it can, just glanced off him, and then hit Clonch square and around like the neck collarbone area where the mask and the chest protector don't meet yet. Hit him a lot more firmly.
Bases loaded for Jack Wold. He singled in the 4th. Ball 1 at the shins. He was also thrown out at home to end that 4th inning on a 6-3-2 putout. Scoreboard now just about even. 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error for either side. The only thing that's uneven is the YD Red Sox now at the plate with the bases loaded. Strike 1. Fastball.
Just got to throw strikes. I mean, at this point, you have not been beat. You've only been beat once. That was by the leadoff guy. Now it's been back-to-back hit batsmen, both of them with 2 strikes.
Yeah, especially with that 0-2 count to Eister. That's a pitch you can't afford. The 1-1 after an exhale from Maldonado. Fastball. Up and above the fans down the right field line. Maldonado's 3rd appearance of the summer. He's looked sharp over his last couple innings pitched. It was that first appearance against Hyannis where he allowed a few earned runs in less than an inning against the Harbor Hawks. That game ended in a 9-9 tie. We're tied right now, 3-3. The 1-2 to Jack Wold. Fastball by him, strike 3. What a big K for Aiden Maldonado, 1 down.
Strikeout was exactly what you want there. You want strikeout followed by ground ball double play. He's got an opportunity to do it here against Terada. Thanks be to that fastball high to Jack Wold. That fastball's got some extra zip to it. I mean, that thing is looking pretty fast. And he's got a couple of guys who have swung right through it. Wyatt Young last inning swung right through it. Noah Campbell on 3-2. Probably should have been expecting fastball. Wasn't. Took a half swing, went right through it. The fastball high from Maldonado has been a great punch-out pitch, and he gets it against Wold as well.
4th strikeout for Maldonado. He goes back to the fastball. It's tagged into left field. Down for a base hit. Wells comes in to score, and stopping at 3rd is Riley King. Base runners all move 90 feet, and YD regains their 1-run lead. It's 4-3.
A lot easier to hit a first pitch fastball than it is to hit a fastball when you're down 1-2, because first pitch goes with it about belt high. Just quick swing from Terada, got around on it in a hurry. Able to tag it for his 2nd hit of the ball game. His first RBI puts YD again in the lead. This back and forth bout continues to swing in YD's favor. Falmouth has not led since the 1st inning. Meanwhile, Yarmouth-Dennis working, I think this is their 3rd lead now.
They were up 2-1. They were up 3-2. Now they're up 4-3. Largest lead that one team has had today is just the 1 run. Bunt attempt.
Oh boy, what are they doing?
Runners were going and coming around and being tagged out about 10 feet up the 3rd base line is Riley King. He was expecting contact from R.J. Yeager, who fanned on the bunt, and Scott Pickler, you could see it almost in slow motion from our vantage point, puts his hands on his helmet and says, "What are you doing?"
Did he fan on the bunt or did he pull it back? I thought he pulled it back. It was a suicide squeeze with the bases loaded and 1 out in the middle of the game, and you're leading. What?
0-1 and now 2 outs and 2 runners on. Off speed, drops a bit low. So perhaps a gift from Riley King, perhaps a gift from R.J. Yeager, and maybe even Scott Pickler as well.
Everything about that was ludicrous. The play call, the communication, because one of those guys, either Yeager or King, did not get the memo.
Yeah, one of them is going to be getting a talking to in the dugout, maybe both. The 1-1. Fastball swung through. 1-2.
I think it's actually King who didn't get it because none of the other guys ran on the base paths.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll keep our eyes on the. Maybe we'll send Katie Fleury over to the Yarmouth-Dennis side to see what she can pick up.
Listen for the scolding that will come.
Well, I don't know how much she can repeat on the air, but 1-2 now and 2 outs. If Aiden Maldonado can get out of this, just allowing 1 run, I'm sure he'd take that as a victory, as would Mike Landry. Bases were loaded with nobody down. Strikeout to Jack Wold, and then a tag out. I'm going to call it on the third baseline.
Is that a caught stealing?
I have no idea. We're going to ask the Cape League scorer. The 1-2. Maldonado takes a couple of deep breaths and delivers. Fastball, and way late on it is R.J. Yeager. He goes down on 4 pitches. One of them was a pulled back bunt attempt, which led to the second out. YD scores just 1 after they load the bases with nobody down. We go to the Falmouth Bats in the top of the 7th. Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. I can't believe this.
0 for 3.
Oh
a lot
gosh.
more. So Milton Cat, let's take a look ahead. Let's gauge this, David. Looking through this, and we know what's ahead. It's 34 games in 34 days, including an all-star game, and a lot more home games coming up. 4-game homestand right at the start of July.
Yeah, Chatham, Orleans, and Brewster, 3 of the teams from the East Division that will have to make a long car ride down 6 and 28 to come meet up with the Commodores. And then Cotuit. It's always interesting because the Commodores don't play Cotuit until July just about every year. Technically, the Commodores' rival in writing and from everything that we've heard around the team. Yeah, exactly. Lore, history, legacy is the Cotuit Cavaliers. They'll play 6 times in a month against each other. And we saw some great matchups last year. I remember 17-7 thrashing at Lowell Park with 4 home runs from the Commodores. So looking forward to seeing what Cotuit can do because they're one of the best teams in the Cape League this year.
Yep, Cotuit. I think they're leading the West. They've been trading first place with Wareham in the Western Division for a couple weeks now. I think they're leading the West again. They've putting together a very solid season. Quality team out there, just a couple minutes ride from Falmouth. New pitcher on for Yarmouth-Dennis. First things first is the rest of this ball game with YD leading 4-3. It's Brandon Dufault who throws a first pitch fastball right through Tim Tawa. Brandon Dufault from Northeastern University. Definitely much different talent he's seeing with a Stanford Cardinal at the plate. But Dufault has been pretty effective on the Cape so far as he fires another fastball past a swinging Tawa. He's had 2 appearances, once at Cotuit, once at Orleans, both of them through an inning. Cotuit through an inning and 2/3. He's allowed 1 earned run, 3.37 ERA through 2 2/3 innings pitched, 2 Ks, 4 walks. Pop up on the infield. There is Yeager. He calls for it, and he will make the catch just on the edge of the outfield grass. 3 pitches and a pop-out to retire the first batter of the inning.
Yeah, you mentioned that maybe disparity between programs in Northeastern and Stanford, but he won the battle. I mean, he just fired 3 fastballs. He said, hey, hit me. Was late on the first 2 and connected on the third, but skied on the infield. So Dufault, a tall righty, stands at 6'5", 195, and he's got some zip to his fastball as well.
He throws a breaking ball to start out Zach DeLoach. 1-0 goes to the count to DeLoach, who is 1 for 2 on the day. Struck out his first at bat, then walked. And then in the 5th, he was the lone man to come around to score. He singled, advanced a couple bases on a pass ball, and finally came home on a ground out. 1-0, is thrown right by him. 1-1. Falmouth trailing by only 1, and keep in mind that if the sun completely sets, game would be called. This has been a slow-moving game. We're now 2 hours plus into it, and we're in the 7th, so finally in the final third of the ball game after 2:18 has passed. The sun completely sets. With the lack of lighting here, it would be called even if we don't go a full 9. 1-1 to Deloach. Holds up on a high fastball, 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, so a few teams in the Cape League have 5 p.m. home starts. They try to allow about 3 hours because the sun sets at about 8 p.m., a little bit earlier at the end of the summer, but those are YD, Brewster Whitecaps, and the Katuitt Kettleers.
2-1, taken high yet again. Close pitch. Now 3-1 is the count.
And we saw, Danny, in that first game of the doubleheader, a 7-inning game, 2-hour, 58-minute runtime.
These teams like to hit the ball, and they like to take their time playing each other. Here's the 3-1 to Deloach. Popped up towards the left side, ranging towards the bullpen is Tirada. That's going to go foul. Full count. Yeah, that was a very long 2 games. It was 14 innings total, and boy, that first game was a slog. 20 hits, 15 runs scored. Falmouth came out on top. That was the last Falmouth win, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because they had another rainout between then and now, as did the Red Sox. Commodores are supposed to travel out to Stony Brook Field in Brewster.
Payoff pitch, swung on and missed. Zach Deloach is a swinging strikeout victim for the 2nd time this evening, and it's 2 up, 2 down for Dufault.
He's looked good, man. I mean, yeah. Dufault, who's been solid this summer with a 3.37 ERA, gets a K and faces the meat of this order. Again, we've talked about the middle of the lineup, perhaps needing to get a little bit more pop. We're still trying to see some power as the Commodores are totaling for just 5 home runs, which is 3rd to last on the Cape League.
First pitch to Steven Moretto, he fouls back into the screen. It's 4, 5, and 6 to start this inning. And 4, 5, and 6, a couple games ago, game 2 against YD, they started 3 separate innings, and each time in those 7 innings, they went down 1, 2, 3. Right. Then against Hyannis, 4, 5, and 6, got on base only once. It was a Taylor Smith home run. And then today, 4, 5, and 6, they've been getting on base a lot, 4 total times. But not looking good right now, as 4 and 5 got out pretty easily, and now 6 is down 0 and 2.
Yeah, combined 2 for 8 with 1 run scored. Again, they worked a couple hit by pitches and walk, but you want your middle of the order to be doing more than that.
0-2 fastball up high, swung on and missed. Steven Moretto is retired on only 3 pitches. Back-to-back strikeouts worked by Brendan Dufault, and it is the first 1-2-3 inning of the ball game for Yarmouth-Dennis pitching. We will head to the bottom of the 7th. It's stretch time from Red Wilson Field, 4-3 in favor of the Red Sox.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Redshirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Bottom of the 7 we go from Red Wilson Field. Yarmouth-Dennis leading Falmouth by a score of 4-3 as the sun continues to set. Sean Mullen will be the pitcher coming on in relief of Aiden Maldonado. And Maldonado got into a lot of trouble in the 6th. He loaded the bases with nobody out. He couldn't find the strike zone. And I was wondering to myself, why doesn't Mike Landry go to the bullpen? Gets a strikeout with nobody out. Then it's 1 out, and then it lets up a single. RBI comes home. It's right now the leading run, why it is 4-3 YD. And then he gets the next 2 outs. So Maldonado got out of a huge jam. He comes away with a line of 2 innings pitched, allowed only 1 hit, let a couple guys on base with HBPs, racked up 5 Ks, however. 4 Ks, pardon me.
Yeah, now Sean Mullen fires a first pitch strike to Sam Hall. But I think, Danny, if you saw Aiden Maldonado load the bases with nobody out after his start against Hyannis, or his appearance against Hyannis, I think you would have seen a quicker hook.
Ball low to Hall, 1-1.
But considering the inning he had before, where he struck out the side, and the outing he had before, where he let up no earned runs, Mike Landry says, I know you have the stuff.
Yeah.
And he let him work out of the jam. I think that's a great job by both Maldonado and Landry.
Mullen's 1-1 is a breaking ball that just barely sits low. Great movement on it, and somehow Hall is able to lay off. Mullen from UCLA. And Falmouth is copying exactly what they did against YD in Game 1 of the doubleheader when they won 9-6. 2-1 misses low, 3-1. At least with their relievers. They went to Maldonado, who pitched against YD last Sunday. Now they're going to Mullen, who pitched against YD last Sunday. His lone appearance of the season, an inning and 2/3, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits, 3 Ks. Here's the 3-1. Fastball swung on and lined right at Steven Moretto at third base. Hard contact from Hall, but he goes down for the 3rd time in as many at-bats.
I think it was broken bat as well, so led to some of that power being let out of the line drive. Otherwise, it would have gotten down that line in a hurry, maybe made a tougher play for Moretto, who has looked sure-handed as ever at third base.
Sean Mullen, who was drafted by the Colorado Rockies in 2018. Coming off of a pretty stellar freshman year. Didn't get a lot of appearances. Only 4 appearances, 6 1/3, but he didn't allow a run. First pitch fastball to Wyatt Young, swung on and fouled back into the fence. Mullen from Bakersfield, California. That's SoCal or NorCal?
I don't know my California geography. I really don't.
Bakersfield is definitely one you recognize. 0-1. Fastball right at the letters. Couple good boys coming from the Falmouth dugout.
Oh, yeah.
Encouraging Mullen.
Max Trink told me it's SoCal.
SoCal, okay. Well, you know what? With this YD roster, we see a ton of guys from these wild California places. 0-2, down in the dirt, checks his swing. No go, says third base umpire Mike Gaetani. You see, guys, they have like 4 guys from San Luis Obispo, which is like, where in the world is that?
Right,
I mean, I'm sure Californians know it. I'm sure it's not a no name town or anything like that. But Bakersfield is one you recognize a little bit more. Mullen's neck of the woods. He's got Wyatt Young 1 and 2, who plays his baseball in California as well at Pepperdine. And he swings and misses. He's got back-to-back swinging strikeouts, first against Maldonado in the 5th, now against Mullen in the 7th. And it's quickly 2 up, 2 down.
Designated hitter from the University of South Carolina.
So hitters 1 and 2 started off the game so hot.
Oh, yeah.
Wyatt Young working a walk, or excuse me, he was hit by a pitch. Noah Campbell with the home run. Then Wyatt Young singles in the 3rd. But ever since that, they've struck out 4 times, have Campbell and Young.
Campbell at the plate now with strikeouts in his last 2 ABs. He watches a beautiful breaking ball sit at the knees and over the outside part of the plate. Untouchable pitch, especially to start off an AB. So he's down 0-1, is the designated hitter. Takes a ball now. He's got 2 RBIs to his credit. In a 4-3 Yarmouth-Dennis lead. Those 2 runs that came in the 1st coming in enormously. Mullins 1-1, swung on and missed. Looks like Campbell's just chasing a lot of pitches down low. We saw him do that in his previous at-bats.
Yeah, he's maybe just getting a little bit too greedy at the plate, but he has worked good at-bats even when he struck out in the 3rd and the 5th. He's worked it full both times.
Here's the 1-2 from Mullen. Does not work at full here. He swings right through a low pitch in the dirt, takes another three-quarter swing, and Sean Mullen gets back-to-back strikeouts and rings up another strikeout against Campbell, his third of the evening. And it's a 1-2-3 inning worked by Falmouth pitching, their second, of the ball game. We head to the top of the 8th. Commodores with 6 outs remaining, and they need 1 run to tie.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Bottom 7 we go. No, top 8. Pardon me. Can't count. Top of the 8th we go here at Red Wilson Field. Danny LaRose, David Korzanowski, Falmouth trailing 4-3. Let's see how other teams are faring across the Cape. David, take us along.
Let's do it. It's the first time that we go around the Cape League at a 5 o'clock start, so we're way ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
Furthest game that's going on right now that's outside of Red Wilson Field is at Durant Park. Brewster up 1-0 on Bourne.
First pitch to Baron Radcliffe is a strike.
Bourne 1 point ahead of Falmouth in the standings, so if the Braves drop that game and Falmouth comes back to win, Doors would be back in 3rd place. Not that that means too much this early in the season. Got a bunch of shutouts going on. Bourne being shut out 1-0.
0-1 to Radcliffe. Swings at a very low pitch. He's been antsy on just about everything.
Harwich, their 3rd matchup of the year against Hyannis. Remember, Hyannis' first win of the year was against the Mariners, but Mariners back up top at home, 3-0 against the Harbor Hawks. Cotuit and Orleans round 2. Round 1 ended in a tie.
0-2 to Radcliffe, sits high.
Round 2, Kettleers are up on the Firebirds, 3-0 in just the 2nd inning at Eldridge Park. And another 7 o'clock start at Veterans Field, Wareham jumping all over Chatham, 4-0.
Here's the 1-2 to Barron. It's taken outside, even count. So a lot of shutouts, and the Western Division cream of the crop, the top teams in the West, continue to dominate.
Early prediction here, and I know maybe this isn't all that surprising. I think the West will be better than the East just because of Cotuit and Wareham.
2-2 clubbed out into deep center field. Back is Hall. He's at the wall, and he will make the grab with not a lot of room. That one lost its oomph just at the last second. Started shifting towards the left field as opposed to over the fence, and Radcliffe nearly tied the ball game with one swing of the bat.
The first thing I do, I look out to that flag in left field, right, and it's sitting down. Maybe a little bit of wind could have helped that ball out of here. But off the bat, I thought that was gone. I mean, he crushed that thing.
Troy Clonch now will step up to the plate. Nobody on and 1 out. Maybe looking to do what Radcliffe did and add a couple feet. He spanks this one into deep left center field. Back is Hall again at the wall, and he can't make the grab. Ricochets right off the palm of his mitt. Throw coming into second base in plenty of time, but it's a little up the line. Sliding in safely is Troy Clonch with a double. How about that rebound by Hall and Eister in the outfield, getting on that one in a hurry and nearly throwing out Clonch.
Yeah, and my instant reaction is the fact that a lefty and a righty, back-to-back pitches, hit it in the exact same part of this ballpark.
Yeah.
Left center field, playable for Hall. Went off the glove of Hall, but I think that's got to be ruled a double, right?
It is.
There's
it is
no way
ruled a
that's
double.
There's no way that's an error.
Yeah, he got there and it hit off his glove. He could have had it if he squeezed maybe a bit earlier, but again, kind of hit off the palm or the heel of the glove. tough catch to make on the run and crashing into the fence. So Kevin Kendall will be the hitter with his rival at school, the Oregon State Beaver Troy Claunch on second base. Kendall, a UCLA Bruin, watches ball 1 skip in the dirt. He's ahead of the count 1-0. No RBIs yet for Kendall on the season, only 2 hits, and today he's 0 for 3.
Yeah, he's struggling a bit today. 2 softly hit ground balls to second base, and then one that was right back between the first baseline and the pitcher's mound. Also struck out looking. But with a guy in scoring position and 1 down, a good opportunity for the Doors to get back in this one and possibly tie it up.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about a guy who's batting in the 9 hole, but you know, on any team could really be batting in the heart of the order. Kevin Kendall swings the bat as good as anybody else does. We talk about how great it is to have him at 9, Cantrell at 1. That 1-2 punch of guys who have shown off power, who have speed, who get on base a lot. But now Kevin Kendall will have to wait as we have a pitching change. Pickler coming out again after 1 pitch was thrown in an at-bat. It's 1-0 the count to Kendall. Now he will go for a pitching change. So long goes Brandon Dufault after an inning and a third, and they will bring in a new arm to finish this count against Kendall.
I'm a bit surprised by the move. He went 4 up, 4 down to start his outing, including 2 strikeouts in the 7th to Deloach and Moretto, but maybe those 2 hard-hit balls, Pickler thought that the Commodores were squaring up and timing the fastball well, so that will do it for Dufault. They go to Chase Smith. Chase Smith, a rising junior at Pittsburgh, making his 4th appearance of the summer.
And he was great against the Doors.
Yeah, he's only allowed 1 earned run so far this year. And his longest outing was against Falmouth in that 8-4 win for Yarmouth-Dennis. Pitched 2 2/3, no hits, no earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. One time he struggled was in a third of an inning of work with an earned run and a hit and 2 walks against the Catuit Kettleers.
So the 6'2 righty out of the University of Pittsburgh, who was on this past season's Stopper of the Year preseason watch list, will have to come on and try to stop Falmouth from tying up this ball game with a runner in scoring position yet again. Again, hitting with runners in scoring position has been the major bugaboo of the Commodores this summer through roughly 10, almost 11 games now once this one is finished. Have not hit too much with guys in scoring position today. We saw back-to-back innings where they loaded the bases and only got 1 run out of that. So we'll see if Kevin Kendall can be the guy who gets it done. Not a lot of speed on second either with Claunch. I mean, he's fast for a catcher, but...
Well, he barely got into second with that double, too.
Yeah. So it's not like it's a guarantee where a single into the outfield will bring him home anyway.
Kevin Kendall.
And again, making the switch on a 1-0 count.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing.
I wonder if that's a decision by Pickler. He says, all right, if he throws a ball here, I'm going out.
Right. First pitch from the righty Smith to lefty Kendall. Chopper back up the middle. This is going to be a tough play by Yeager. He slides, smothers it, throw on to first, not in time. Kendall showing off the wheels. He's got an infield hit, and there are runners on the corners for big bad Hayden Cantrell.
This is exactly what Falmouth wants and needs. They've scored no more than 1 run in an inning. Scored in the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th. They've been held off the board since then, but here in the 8th, you got runners on the corners and the top of the lineup, which is really the meat of the lineup as well, now coming up to bat. Hayden Cantrell's reached base every time.
Yep, he's reached base every time, and he is the reigning Cape League Player of the Week. Cantrell, red hot, 2 hits today, along with a hit by pitch and a walk. He's facing a righty in Smiths, who's batting from the left side. He watches the first pitch breaking ball not break at all and miss well outside. 1-0 to the second baseman from Louisiana Lafayette. He's came into today batting a cool .342. Runner goes from first. Cantrell takes a hack, belts it down the right side. It goes well foul, but he was all over that pitch.
Yeah, I mean, he probably hit that thing .350 just in foul territory. And I think that was a designed hit and run. You get that down in the gap, and Kendall probably scores from first. You take the lead.
Love the call. Love the play call. And Cantrell, if he just was able to straighten it out a little bit, would have done all that and more. 1-1 now the count to Hayden. who has gotten the attention of just about everybody, players, broadcasters, coaches, scouts across the Cape. Smith from the stretch will try to pick off Kendall over at first base, who has taken a sizable lead. Kendall slides back in safely. Claunch on third, Kendall on first, Cantrell at the dish, 1 out in a 4-3 ball game. Falmouth with 8 hits, YD with 7. Falmouth just can't get those big hits with runners in scoring position. Time now called by Cantrell as both these teams, it's like a chess match. I mean, they just play so square against each other and they take their time. They know that every pitch counts at this point in the game. Smith's 1-1. Sits low.
He's got that curveball, but it's a tight curveball. Not high and looping. It stayed on the outside part of the plate there. It's a very tough pitch to hit. Good spot because he doesn't want to give Cantrell anything that he can take for a ride like he did that foul ball.
Here comes the pitch from Smith. It's a fastball, and that one looks like it just missed a tad outside. Now it's a very generous hitter's count for Hayden. 3 balls to 1 strike.
I think you got to give him the green light here. He's going to be throwing something that you can hit. You're down 1 run in the ball game. Kendall with some speed at first and Claunch at third.
Here's the 3-1. Kendall's running. Pitch misses low and inside. Hayden Cantrell works only his 3rd walk of the season, but it's his 2nd walk in a row. And he'll be on first base. The bases will be loaded for now the 3rd time in this ball game, and Blake Dunn will have the opportunity to crack it open.
All right, so you got the bases loaded, and this time there's 1 out. So you got a little more leeway if you're Falmouth. You got a little more pressure if you're Yarmouth-Dennis. And Scott Pickler's feeling it because he's walking back out to the mound again.
He's going to pull the righty Smith for yet another righty. So Chase Smith gets to face 2 batters. Kendall followed by Cantrell. He allows a hit and a walk, and he will be leaving the ball game. We will take a quick break on this pitching change. When we come back, 1 out, bases loaded, 1-run ball game. Falmouth threatening on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1994, holds over 1,000 events nationwide for players in both high school and middle school, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, with thousands drafted and more than 500 who have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness. The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day, like the new short rib tacos or New England fried shrimp. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We offer over 400 different beverage choices on Cape Cod to quench every thirst, and more than 150 are low or no-calorie options.
So Scott Pickler goes to Taylor Dollard, rising sophomore at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, 6'3" righty, and his 4th appearance of the summer. Maybe no jam bigger than this. He's got a 1-0 record. In his first appearance, he got the win in 2 innings of relief against Orleans, and he's also pitched against Falmouth-Dennis in that 9-6 loss for the Red Sox. Gave up 1 hit, no walks, and struck out 2.
So Dollard, who in both of his years at San Luis Obispo has had a sub-3 ERA and very similar numbers, is their closer. Will come on in not a save opportunity in the 8th inning, but a big one nonetheless. Bases loaded, 1 out. Blake Dunn at the dish. with Falmouth trailing by a run. Righty-righty matchup. The righty pitching from the stretch, and Dunn takes a first pitch breaking ball that many of the Doors do not like. It's called a strike at the knees and on the corner.
Blake Dunn with a grimace after that call by Sean Finn as well. Got a battle here. Got to put the ball in play. You can't strike out here if you're Blake Dunn.
Don't want a ground ball either. Here's the 0-1. Stays low. Good layoff by Dunn. That was a great pitch. With the bases being loaded now for the third time this game, the fifth time in the last two, you got to think something's got to give. There's going to come some point where somebody puts one into the gap, just even in the outfield.
And like you said the last time the Doors had runners in scoring position, a fly ball gets you a run too.
Also true. Here's the 1-1. In the dirt off the plate. Beautiful block by Austin Wells. He had to get down and dirty to stop that one. If it trickles behind him, they don't even need a hit to tie the ball game. It would have been a run scored on the pitch.
And I've thought this a couple times, but I'm really fascinated with a lot of the catchers here in the Cape League. And Wells and Clonch defensively are both fantastic. Especially with blocking pitches, making sure that nothing gets by them.
2 on the count. Here's the pitch to Dunn. Great breaking ball. It looked like Blake was kind of ducking it, thought it was going to stay high, and it ended up tucking in right at the belt.
Yeah, he thought it was high and inside. I think he thought that was going to creep in towards his left arm. But that's when you know you got nasty breaking stuff, is when they're dodging out of the way of a strike.
Count even at 2-2. Dollard lifts his leg and fires home a fastball at the knees. Strike 3 called. Beautiful pitch by Taylor Dollard, and Blake Dunn, I think he knew it as he walks back to the dugout, a strikeout victim.
The shortstop from Rice University.
So Trey Cruz gets a chance. 0 for 3 on the day. Grounded into a double play the last time he was up. He's got his buddy Hayden Cantrell at third.
Falmouth has loaded the bases a ton this season, and I can't remember the last time they had a hit with the bases loaded. Don't know if there is one. Cruz trying to break that trend with 2 outs. First pitch he sees, another beautiful curveball that sits in about thigh high for strike 1.
Dollar's looking sharp, no question about it.
Cruz is 0 for 3. He reached on a walk in the fourth. He did have an RBI in the third, thanks to a run scoring on a rundown. The 0-1 to Cruz. Fouled back into the fence, and it's quickly no balls and 2 strikes.
All Big West honorable mention during his freshman year. This would be a big 2 outs for him to get, to come in with the bases loaded and get 2 outs without allowing a run. Preserve this lead as the sun continues to set.
The 0-2. Outside, good layoff by Cruz. Tried to get him to chase on a fastball. This is the now third pitcher for the Red Sox in this inning alone. Started with Dufault. He got tagged for a couple hits. And then came in Smith. He let up a hit and then a walk. And now Dollard has been the one who's doing the bulk of the heavy lifting. Bases loaded, 1 out. You mentioned the strikeout. Now he's trying to get another one with Cruz down 1-2. The pitch. Fastball swung on and missed. Strike 3. Once again, the Falmouth Commodores strand the bases loaded without scoring a run. Falmouth scores no runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on base. We go to the the bottom of the 8th. It's 4-3, Yarmouth-Dennis.
Baseball Factory, which has proudly supported the Cape League for 20-plus seasons, conducts baseball trainings, tournaments, and showcases at over 1,000 events nationwide, providing players with world-class instruction and help with college recruiting. The Baseball Factory program leads to future success both on and off the field for players in both middle school and high school. It's never too early to start. Learn more at baseballfactory.com.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
We welcome you back to Red Wilson Field, the home of the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox. As we begin the bottom of the 8th inning, it's Yarmouth-Dennis 4, Falmouth 3. The Doors have now left 12 runners on base. They have stranded the bases loaded 3 times. They have racked up 8 hits, which is pretty darn good. But again, just can't hit with guys in scoring position and guys on base. The pitching has been much better than it has been the bulk of this season, but they're not getting enough help to put this game over the edge.
And it's one thing when you point that out against Hyannis and you lose by 6, but in a 1-run ball game, those just sting that much more. Because we pointed it out with 1 out as ball 1 misses high to Austin Wells. You don't need a lot.
Yeah.
You really don't need a lot to score a run and tie the game.
They just needed 1 fly ball to the outfield to get it done. Instead, they got 2 strikeouts. Here's the 1-0 from Sean Mullen. Beautiful breaking ball, paints the outside black.
And I'm keeping my eye on the shadows and the time here, Danny, because it's 7:50 right now.
Mullins 1-1, misses outside. I think that's why Pickler, when he was making his pitching change last inning, the second one that he made, he stood out there for a little bit longer. He talked with his infield a little bit more. He knew that sun was setting, and he wanted to make sure Falmouth maybe had their last chance in the 8th. Ground ball foul makes the count 2-2 to Wells. Mullen might have that in the back of his mind, might think that he needs to work a quick inning just to give his boys a shot.
Yeah, because, again, they plan for about 3 hours, because that's usually how long the longer games take here on the Cape.
2-2 from Mullen, misses outside yet again, so it's been bouncing back and forth between ball, strike, now a ball. Count is full.
And the sun is set to set here at 8:18.
Here's the payoff pitch from Mullen. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. He finally blows by the fastball past Wells. Wells racks up his second swinging strikeout of the ball game, and that's 1 up, 1 down.
3 straight strikeouts as well for Mullen, who's showing some of his best stuff. Doors pitching has been solid today, Danny, with the staff ERA over 5 coming into the day. Ross, a solid start with 3 earned runs, but now 12 strikeouts combined for these Doors pitchers.
First pitch thrown is fouled back by Riley King, 0-1. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, was that the strikeout numbers really stick out. Yeah. Of course, they've allowed 4 earned runs, and, you know, amazing pitching, you would say, wouldn't allow any. They would throw shutouts, but still pretty effective when you're striking out one of the best hitting teams so consistently. 0-1 to King. Drops in. Good frame by Troy Clonch. I mean, that thing was well below the knees of King, but he brought it up in a hurry.
Doors pitching entering the night, 79 strikeouts, 9th for a staff in the league.
0-2, that's strikeout number 13. Curveball in the dirt, throw down to first base. Clonch gets it to Radcliffe in plenty of time, and Sean Mullen is helping out the strikeout numbers as he's got 4 through 5 batters faced.
The fielder, Andrew Eister.
Yeah, he looks great, Danny. 4 straight strikeouts. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. He's faced the minimum as well.
Andrew Eister will be the hitter. 2 strikeouts to his ledger. Also was hit by a pitch his last time up in the 6th. He's got nobody on and 2 outs. Looking for some insurance for the Sox. First pitch he sees, takes on the inside corner. And this is exactly what you want from your UCLA guy. You bring in the UCLA pitchers, and they just, I don't know, they're just a different breed. One of the best pitching teams in college baseball this year. Sean Mullen's breaking ball skips off the plate. Both he and Nastrini, who pitched in Game 2 to start on Sunday against YD, looking very, very effective and with great movement. Eister, the left fielder from the University of South Carolina, takes that off speed over the outside corner. He's now down 1-2. Came into today batting an even 400 with 3 home runs, one of them coming against Falmouth, and 9 RBIs. So far, he's been held quiet, as I mentioned, sporting an offer. Mullins 1-2. Cranked out into deep center field. Back is Tawa. He's at the wall. He will make the grab about 10 or so feet in front of the center field wall. So, boy, ball was flying out early in the game. Not so much in this later part of the ball game. It's back-to-back 1-2-3 innings worked by Sean Mullen, and we will head to the top of the 9th. Falmouth just looking for 1.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development, online at www.curry.edu.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Tim Tawa will lead off the top of the 9th, with Falmouth still searching for 1 to tie the ball game. They've been trailing 4-3 since the bottom of the 7th inning. Had the bases loaded and 1 out in the 8th. Couldn't get anything home. Tawa, who has an RBI, came all the way back in the 1st, which feels like a century ago. Swings at the first pitch he sees from the pitcher, Dollard, fouls it away.
Dollard has an opportunity to get a save here. It would be his first save of the summer. He's held opponents to just a 111 batting average.
He's been very effective and came into the 8th, worked back-to-back strikeouts to get out of the jam. He'll face 4, 5, and 6 here in the 9th. 0-1 to Tawa. Ooh, that's taken for a strike. Looked a little inside, but good frame by Wells. No balls, 2 strikes to the center fielder from Stanford. 4, 5, and 6 were at the plate in the 7th. That was the lone 1-2-3 inning for Yarmouth-Dennis pitching. Trying to avoid that same fate here in the 9th. The 0-2 skips well in front of home plate.
All right, so another chance for 4, 5, and 6, right, Danny?
Yeah.
See what they can do here. 2 hits, 1 for Tawa, 1 for Deloach.
The 1-2. Out ahead of it, chops it right off of his chest and goes into fair territory, but a foul ball after it hit him. So Tawa just barely able to nick a piece of it, and he will stay alive. Mentioned Tim's hit, came back in that 1st inning. After that, he was hit by a pitch and then was put down with a strikeout and a pop-out. So he's a 1 for 3 on the game. Came into the ball game batting 1 for 9. Dollard pitching from the stretch despite nobody being on base. Lifts that left leg, comes home. 1-2, swung on and missed. Tawa goes down as a swinging strikeout victim. Make it 3 straight strikeouts for Dollard to begin his outing.
So Mullen struck out 4 in a row, and now Dollard comes in with the bases loaded and 1 out, strikes out 2 batters, picks up right where he left off in the 9th.
Zach Deloach will try to buck the trend of 4, 5, and 6 going down in order. He's got 2 strikeouts himself, both of them swinging, bookending 2 times he's gotten on base. Takes a strike at the knees. So in 4 plate appearances, he struck out, as I mentioned, also walked and singled. 0-1 the count to the Aggie from Texas A&M. Righty-lefty matchup. Deloach, the lefty, has the advantage in that department. The 0-1. Breaking ball hits him on the front knee. Didn't move a muscle because, again, with those curveballs, never know where they're going to drop. He'll take it, though, launches the bat towards the dugout, and the tying run stands on first.
All right, so in the top of the ninth now, last chance for the Commodores. I'm going back to that first inning and also a little bit in the second and third, swinging early in at-bats. I know you're trying to work counts and get a pitch to hit, but you can't be too picky here, and Dollard's throwing his best stuff early in ABs. Commodores had a lot of success when they were swinging early and often at the beginning of this game against Tolman.
I love that mentality. I mean, they got their success there, and when you get deep into a count against Dollard, more often than not, he's striking you out, not walking you.
Because he has control of the at-bat.
Yeah. Steven Moretto will now get to face Dollard. He takes a big hack at the first pitch he sees, taking David's advice, but he comes up empty. Moretto, the third baseman, has reached base twice. Once he was hit, once reached on an error. Otherwise, he's flown out and struck out. Deloach on first. Does have a stolen base to his ledger this season. Don't know if he'll be going here. Moretto trying to avoid the ground ball. Dollard's 0-1. Keeps it low, and Moretto swings right over it. It's 0-2.
Yeah, right now Dollard just looks sharp. Doesn't matter if you're swinging early or late in at-bats. He's got some nasty stuff. Kept that pitch low, and it had a little extra break on it, too. Very tough to hit.
Deloach with a medium lead at first base. Dollard paying him no mind. The 0-2 comes home. Fastball high as Wells looks back. Deloach at first. 1-2 count to Steven Moretto, who was Mr. Clutch in the first week of the season. Had a game-tying RBI against Hyannis, had game-winning RBI on a sac fly against Chatham, but since then has been awfully quiet with a batting average sub 200 now. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball, cut on and missed, strike three. Steven Moretto goes down on strikes, the fourth strikeout through 5 batters for Taylor Dollard.
Well, the Commodores dugout has gotten a little bit more quiet as they are now down to their final chance with Barron Radcliffe at the plate and 2 down here in the ninth. Moretto was saying something to Barron Radcliffe, most likely some advice for this AB. See if it pays off.
Barron is 3 for his last 17 with 9 strikeouts. Trying to change that. Deloach is running. Throw from Wells from his knees. Got him at second. The Falmouth Commodores make the final out of the ball game at second base. Just a stinging end to an already stinging defeat.
Yeah, this was a tough one for the Doors. Losing by 1 to a team that has been your rival the past few years. And it really felt like this game was there for the taking. It felt like the Doors had their chances. It wasn't like YD was the totally dominant team today. It was a little bit of a combination of YD pitching being great and Falmouth really just not taking advantage when they had runners on the base paths in this 1-run loss.
They have left over now about a dozen runners left on base in this game, and now over the last 2 games have loaded up the bases 5 times, twice against Hyannis, 3 times against YD, and only in one of those innings were they able to put runs home. They were unable to get any hits with the bases loaded in the last 2 games. It's just hitting with runners in scoring position is the biggest issue. I mean, they out-hit YD today 8-7, but again, they get outscored 4-3. That's now, 3 straight games where they've scored less than 5 runs. And it's not because the hitting is bad. It's just that the situational hitting isn't there.
I mean, they out-hit YD today.
Yeah, exactly.
They had 8 hits, and Yarmouth-Dennis had 7. It was just that one little difference, the winning run for YD coming in the 6th inning because of the single from Riley to Rada. But, yeah, this was just a tough one for the Doors to swallow, and they definitely have to do some work before the game against Bourne tomorrow.
Falmouth took a 1-0 lead thanks to one of the rare 2-out hits they got. Tim Tawa with a base hit that scored Hayden Cantrell. Cantrell had himself another great ball game where he reached base in every single plate appearance and racked up a couple of hits. He continues to run roughshod through the Cape Cod League. They put runners on base in every inning except for the 7th, but again, only able to score the 3 runs. They took that 1-0 lead, followed by YD in the home half. Noah Campbell hit a 2-run home run. Then it was back and forth. Falmouth tied it up 2-2. YD went up 3-2. Falmouth tied it up 3-3. And finally in the 7th, as you mentioned, YD, bases loaded, nobody out. They get a single with 1 out. Brings home a run. Maldonado gets out of the jam. And from that 7th inning on, it was kind of the Commodores with the momentum. I mean, Maldonado gets out of the bases loaded jam, allowing only 1 run, which is huge. And then Falmouth loads up the bases themselves in the 8th. You feel like something's got to give, but again, just didn't get that one final thing to click. And if we're looking at Maldonado and the rest of the pitching staff, they had a pretty solid game for a pitching staff that has been struggling oh so mightily.
Yeah, definitely. This was a great outing for Maldonado and Mullen in particular. Really impressed with the reliever from UCLA. He had 4 strikeouts in 2 innings of work. And Tyler Ross with a solid start. I mean, about an average line, I'd say. 4 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. It was just that home run in the first inning that was the major blemish on his line. But some things to work for, or some things to go off of for the Falmouth Commodores here in the solid pitching. It's just those base runners and taking advantage later in the game.
So Cullen Kafka gets the win, Maldonado gets the loss, and getting the save is Taylor Dollard, as once again, final score from YD, 4-3 in favor of the Red Sox. Yarmouth-Dennis scores 4 runs on 7 hits. They commit 1 error. Falmouth scores 3 runs on 8 hits. They commit 1 error. Falmouth will be back in action tomorrow night at Duran Park against the Bourne Braves. First pitch coming up at 6 p.m. Be sure to tune in to our YouTube live stream at about 5:50 for the pregame show that we will have up. But for now, we will be saying so long from Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth as final score 4-3 in favor of the homestanding Red Sox. For David Korzenowski, for our sideline reporter Katie Florio, for our producer Tony Bianco, I'm Daniel LaRose saying so long from Red Wilson. We'll